These things are cool.
You can take it off.
Okay, yeah.
Take the tripod off.
That's fine. Same one.
Make that drama. Well, you gotta keep that bottom open because the sound comes out the bottom.
You live and you learn. You live and you learn.
Yeah, man. Well, I mean, keep going, man. You just go take your time.
I'm done.
Okay.
Nice word about it.
Thanks, man. I mean, it is incredibly awesome to see you, man.
Yes, likewise.
I mean, some people you meet and you're like, you know, I hope I stay friends with that person for a really long time.
Yes,
I mean,
yes.
and it's one of those things. It's one of those things where it doesn't matter how much time's passed, we just pick right back up and
Yes,
get
definitely.
to just be buds
Definitely.
like we once were.
Yes.
And sometimes life happens and people don't get to keep up as often as they want to.
A lot of life happens.
Like it's funny to me that you were like, did you mean to message me? I'm like, yes, of course I meant to message you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
What did you think? You thought like it was a joke?
Oh, I don't know.
I
was like, I don't know. It was just like, wow. I haven't seen this guy in like.
I don't forget anybody.
Whew.
It's not my life. My life is not meant to forget people. Like that's no matter how much time goes by. So someone's made an impact in life. You know what I mean? I feel like you've been an important friend to me.
Yeah.
At very important moments. So I wanted to make sure we got to have a real cool ass talk. You know, just a hang session.
That's cool to hear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm pleased to see that you're living good and
yes,
and doing well.
Yes.
You're kind of local to here.
Yes.
Okay.
Not far.
Not far.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Northeast Philadelphia.
That's not a very far trip at all.
Yes.
So we can make a habit out of this whole hanging out thing.
It's less than a half hour.
Yeah.
It's very nice. Good time of day, no traffic. You know what's going on, so there's definitely no traffic.
Okay. Well, like you were saying something earlier about thinking about a trip to Bristol.
Yeah.
To train, I'm like, dude, if you want to do that and come through and hang out here,
yeah,
absolutely,
definitely,
absolutely, come through and hang out. I mean, I really think that you have such big potential to do big stuff everywhere.
Yeah.
You're so unique. Nobody else is quite like you.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not something you're not gonna have one or two other people that show up to a place and are like you.
Okay, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Walk me through like what I mean. I missed the whole like big money thing and all the managing, and was that what you were doing? You were managing, or were you wrestling with that name?
Wrestling.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Once I got that name, I was kind of like, all right, you're a worker, kid. You know.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't.
We're calling you this.
I missed out on all that.
Yeah. You know how it is.
Yeah.
There was a couple other names.
Mm-hmm. When did we meet? Like, were you training?
No, when I met you, I was a ring boy in the old school CZW.
Okay, well, like at the arena.
At the arena.
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
I'm not trying to do too much name dropping.
No.
No disrespect to anyone, but yeah.
Dude,
the old arena.
The people who are gonna get disrespected aren't gonna listen to the podcast. Well, it takes an extra effort. Like it takes an effort to find the thing to be upset about.
Yeah.
And the people who would have to make that effort won't make that effort.
Yeah.
So I don't care.
Yeah.
I mean, like.
Well, for me, it's all about respect. That's
yeah.
first and foremost.
Yeah.
If you're talking about the business,
Mm-hmm.
It's respect. Respect first and foremost.
Yeah.
The beginning, the middle, and the last, the end. It's respect.
Yeah. No matter like how big or little your in-ring career may have been, or how, or anything, like whether you made something of yourself or not, you continue to respect what brought you there.
Yes, and what brought me there was people like you who I watched as I set up rings because I wanted to help out back in the arena,
right?
In South Philly, and just watching you guys in front of me, watching how hard everything was, and I'm thinking, wow, I could never do that,
Dude, I was such a kid. I mean, now that I'm thinking about it,
we were kids.
Such a long ass time ago. I don't remember.
Yeah.
A whole lot of things.
Yeah. I mean, you probably remember the truck. What's the guy's name with the beard? We used to ride.
Eugene?
Yeah. So that's how I met you. The truck, the ring. You kind of in the truck with him.
You remember
us loading the ring?
Everyone thought he was my dad, right? Do you remember that?
No.
I called him Pop.
Okay.
Okay,
I do kind of remember that.
He's a very dear friend of mine. He's been on this podcast actually.
Oh wow!
But dude, what a guy, man! What a guy.
Yeah, I seen him
at Monster Mania.
No, actually, it was at that show, the one for Lyle.
Okay, right.
Yeah, I seen him. That was like less than a year ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think it was in July or something like that. A lot of people there, a lot of old faces, a lot of familiar faces.
Yeah, I know. Sozio did a match on that show.
Yeah, yes he did. Saw him, hadn't seen him in a while. A lot of familiar faces.
Have you listened to his podcast?
Yes, I have.
That's a fun podcast. That's a good.
Very nice. Yes.
Struggling with Sozio is what it's called.
Yeah.
I just did listen to the newest one he had with Rick. Did you hear that?
Oh no, I didn't.
Just check that.
I have to check a lot of them out. Yeah.
Remember Rick?
You mean
Feinberg?
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course, your friend.
Yeah, my best friend.
Yeah.
Still to this day.
Yeah. Took me a second to say the name. Getting up there.
Him and I have a wrestling podcast that we do.
Okay. Yes.
And,
all right.
and that's called Wrestle Rock. We started it 5 years ago now.
Okay.
We just had our 5-year anniversary. Dude, it's so funny because like having us hanging out like this and having this conversation completely distracted me from the fact that we're living in this like quarantine time.
Mm-hmm.
This is a time unlike any time we've ever lived through.
Yeah.
I can't stop thinking about how this is like the change that the world needs. I think this pause from everything is going to make everything else when it comes back on more like loving, more. I think people are gonna come out more. I think like people are gonna miss interactions and going out to eat and it's hopefully if it's only a minute or something, it'll give people, you know what I mean? Even if it's only a very temporary thing, it's I think gonna unite people.
Yeah.
Because it's that tribe. There was a book called The Tribe by Sebastian Younger.
Okay.
Was it Joseph? I forget. Sebastian or Joseph Younger, something like that. But it was about like the tribe mentality and how close together after 9/11. The whole world felt. Everybody in America was patriots and stuff, and it was more about, hey, it doesn't matter what differences we have in our religions or skin colors or cultures. It's about we're Americans too, and it was just that mentality now update to 2020. I mean, 19 years ago.
Okay.
So I think we might face something like that again now, as far as like people being united again.
Okay.
Wanting to create. I really want to make it a point to be consistent in this time of inconsistency.
Yes.
Make sure stay delivering the message as often as possible.
Yeah.
It gets better through work, and the work doesn't stop.
Yes.
You got to continue doing that work.
Yeah. Forgive me if I'm talking a little loud. I'm going to lower the microphone and talk a little loud so the people in the camera can hear me. I know the people in the mic can hear us, so I'll talk a little loud so the people in the camera can hear us. Everyone's routine is being broken.
Yeah.
You know, if you're used to going to work and your job is all you have, and that's your life, bam, that's gone. In a week, everything's changed. Everything's shut down. Everything's different. That routine is gone.
Yeah, dude, you hate your job every day, but now you miss your job.
Yeah, now you miss it, or you miss people, or you miss whatever.
Right. Yeah.
You know, you might even miss the commute because you might not realize you might enjoy getting away from.
In your car is the only peace you've got in your day.
That music in your car, or that drive with the windows down, that might be your peace.
Or listening to podcasts. Maybe listening to podcasts in your car. Maybe you subscribe to Evolving with Cory Kastle.
Plug. Oh yeah.
Maybe you subscribe to Wrestle Rock, and that's maybe something you really enjoy, listening to the show about pro wrestling and comedy.
How do I know? Like, is this on?
No, it doesn't have like an on.
Okay, I just want like, what is this? Is this the?
No, that's the unplug it.
Yeah, I'm gonna be saying stuff like that through the whole podcast. I'm gonna be like, what's this? What's this?
It's a technical. It's all stuff you have to like watch to understand. Be like, there's a Mitch Hedberg joke. He's like, he made a CD. Do you remember Mitch Hedberg?
Maybe my face.
He was a stand-up comic. He was a stand-up comedian. He had like long hair. And he wore sunglasses all the time, and he always like looked down.
Okay.
And he had like real deadpan delivery on stuff. And he made a CD, and in the CD he's like, I'm just gonna do all my CD jokes you would have had to see to laugh at. It's like, what's up with that guy's shirt? Man, what's your deal? Like, on the CD, you're hearing it, and you're like, yeah, I don't know that guy's shirt. So that's what's with this black thing on this thing? Like,
yeah.
I don't know. I'm not looking at it.
I just realized you got a Rey Mysterio mask on.
Yeah, dude.
And the Eagle Wing belt.
Yeah, this living room's all dorked out. There's a lot of dorky things going on in here, but
it's cool.
It's
cool.
Kind of, some of my favorite stuff.
It's good. Got hold it up there.
And I got that Randy Savage Slim Jim that they just came out with. I just got one and just put it next to the Hogan.
Yeah, okay, I see, yeah.
Did you see those?
No, I'm just learning about it now. I miss some things. That's what happens.
No, it's out. It's currently out. Like Wawa and stuff. There's a Macho Man Randy Savage Slim Jim.
Yeah, I saw you got a Wawa not too far from here.
Yeah, right in front of the street.
That's cool.
Yeah, this is the life.
Wow, definitely.
This is the life.
Definitely. Yeah.
So, how's work doing? Are you doing all right with that?
Now
that this whole
it's
stuff,
it's kind of slowed down, which
it's still open, or are you still doing stuff?
A little bit, not much. So some of the sites have slowed down, and it's like so it's like, all right, we had this the other day, we had this, and this for you, but now we got this maybe on Friday or Saturday, maybe. Just we'll let you know. Until further notice,
you know what I'm curious about? I'm curious about like what my landlord is going to be like as soon as April starts.
You know, it's funny because like I got an email from Planet Fitness the other day, and it was like I know everyone hates Planet Fitness.
I love Planet Fitness.
Yeah, like it was like something along the lines of what everyone's sending out, like we care about our customers and blah blah blah. We're shutting down, but it's like
you're going to charge me for the month.
But it said something about like unfortunately like we weren't able to like the money's going to be taken out.
Right. So you care
at the normal time.
Right.
But just to let you know, so you have your money in there because at the normal time the money's gonna, but we're closed until.
So you can't use it. You can't use it this month.
Yeah, there's a recording.
You're charging you
like
for it.
there's a recording. We're closed until further notice. Everything's closed until further notice.
Right.
So that's what's going on right now. But we're still taking the money out. And remember, your rent's still due, and your phone bill's still due. Like Metro, just text me, right? Metro PCS.
Right.
We care about our customers. The stores will be closed, but there's many other ways you can pay your bill and get help for your phone. We have.
They gotta be freaking out too, like companies and.
Yeah.
Like, cause imagine having a service like that where people have to pay for it, but nobody's making money. So everyone's gonna be reaching out to customer service, and everyone's gonna have a heartbreaking little tale of.
And they said like on the news, cable or I don't know. There's gonna be money going around for where you can say, hey, the coronavirus messed me up, and you can prove it, so your cable might not be shut off. But screw that. What about your rent? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
That I'm concerned about it. Yeah, I'm certainly concerned about it. And on top of that, I mean, I got a new roommate moving in the next couple weeks.
Okay.
So I'm just like. I gotta pay the rent, and I might have to pay like a third roommate's part of the rent too. I don't know if I can make that.
Well, wouldn't the roommate pay that?
Well, if they don't move in, is what I'm saying.
Oh yeah, I see what you're saying.
Like,
yeah, I get it.
If they can't move in,
yeah,
I'm fucked.
Oh, isn't it lovely?
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, I've been to some jams,
Yeah, you know what? I've survived so many jams.
Yeah.
That this is to me very like, we've been through it. I mean, we haven't been through this specific thing, but been through worse things.
Yeah.
Like, my mom and my brother were talking about the other day a memory of having to park the car over the water valve so they couldn't come turn our water off. When we lived in Northeast Philly.
Yeah, I remember that house. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's gotten bad, but it's not that bad.
The other house your family's in now, is that the house I hope you guys moved to, or back then, like when you guys were moving, or is that
no?
House?
We moved again since then.
Yeah, that was. I can't remember. That's got to be like 15 years ago.
Yeah, it was Levittown. That was Levittown.
Yeah, it's all a blur, like I said.
In Highland Park, Hyacinth Road.
Okay.
But,
all right. Yeah, because I'm like, no. When I was pulling up, I'm like, I don't think so.
No, we all went our separate ways for a minute there.
Mm-hmm.
My sister Julie.
Okay.
She actually lives in North Carolina now.
All right.
She's married and has a kid.
Okay.
And my brother moved to North Carolina for 7 or 8 years.
Okay.
Like that. And he's back now, living with my mom. And originally him and I had bought this apartment. This was his and I's. I look at everything here like it's ours, like it's him and I.
Okay.
Like this couch, this TV, like.
I just bought one of those, but it's a little bit smaller than TCL.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Good TV.
I like it.
For the money, it's good.
Yeah.
Good prices. Good.
When we first
TV.
Moved in here, we put that on layaway at Walmart or something, and paid it off. So it belongs to us. It's our TV, but he doesn't live here anymore.
Hey, I know how that goes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a chilling place. What's that wrestling shoe over there? There you go.
Yeah. That's how you know you're in a house of wrestlers.
Yeah,
There's
there you go.
wrestling shoes over there, wrestling shoes over
Oh
there.
yeah, matter of fact, wrestling shoes over there.
So,
Yeah,
that's how you know you're in a wrestler's house.
there you go. Yeah, but yeah, it's been some tough jams for me as well. And it's those uncertain times. It's hard.
It tests you, man.
It's a test. Yeah.
Like how do you learn anything? And how do you get any better as a person if you don't go through these struggles?
Well, you know what?
If you don't survive adversities. And
When
get
I
over obstacles.
when I face things now, I kind of laugh because I'm not that scared. I'm not that afraid like I was before. I was evicted twice, so it's like,
What else you got?
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
What do you got for me? Like, but don't say that because it could get worse.
Oh yeah, totally.
You could be, like if you were homeless with a car, you could be homeless without a car. It could get worse.
Right, yeah.
If you were homeless with Planet Fitness, you could be homeless without Planet Fitness.
Yeah.
Where you can't pull your car up to Planet Fitness and take a shower. So, some people are homeless without a car. They don't have the luxury of sleeping in the car, turning on the car every once in a while to get some heat or air. Or
Is it funny? Is it funny that like some homeless people have like iPhones?
Man, they got gym memberships, iPhones. They got. It's I mean it could be that a lot of people just became homeless.
Yeah.
Like if you've been homeless for a month and a half and you're about to not be homeless again, and that was your time. That was that month and a half of your life. That was the worst time of your life.
It's
You
weird.
might have a car. You might have gym membership.
My roommate was living out of his car.
Yeah.
And had a smartphone.
Yeah.
For like over a year before he moved in here.
Okay.
So it's like I see how it's possible. It's just like what a weird time to be alive. Like
yeah.
You can be penniless and desperate, but still be able to like tweet something. You know what I mean? That's it. It's like even your least privileged people have so much privilege versus like other countries and how bad their homeless people must have.
But then we got the homeless people that have nothing. So
right, yeah. I mean,
so,
there's degrees. Yeah. There's leveling degrees of homeless.
But there's definitely homeless where you're actually like in Planet Fitness taking a shower. So you're there changing your clothes and you're at the laundromat washing your clothes and you actually have a job. So no one knows you're homeless because you're washing your clothes.
Yeah.
So your clothes are not stinking. They might stink here and there because you're homeless and you can't do everything when but you're at the laundromat, you're at Planet Fitness taking a shower, and you're at work a few days a week. So no one actually knows you're homeless until they look in your car. Maybe they see like you got a lot of stuff in your car, dude. Like why you got so much stuff in your car?
When I worked at Target, I'm gonna say this is probably 2006. There was
I worked at Target too.
Yeah.
2 years.
I was at overnight stop. Was what I did.
Security.
Yeah, of course. That's anywhere you've ever worked. Security.
Hard.
You're like 6'5".
Yeah, let's say that. Let's say 6'4". Okay. Yeah.
6'4", 300 pounds.
Yeah. Since I don't have hair anymore,
there's security anywhere you go.
Yeah.
Even if you're not clocked in.
Yeah, it's
your security.
That's actually true.
Yeah.
That happened to me the other day. It still happens.
People get behind you.
I got cursed out the other day with a security guard that I was talking to for like 1 minute, and the woman that was stealing thought, of course, because when you have on anything, like say I have on this,
right?
She doesn't know who I am.
Well, you look like an undercover loss prevention.
Yeah, in her mind, I'm security, and since I'm having a conversation with a guard, so I'm either a manager or blah, whatever.
Right. So
she's cursing the guard out and cursing me out because she thinks I'm the guard's manager or undercover loss prevention or whatever. It never fails. And I can't go anywhere because I always catch someone stealing. I was in Walmart the other day with my friend for like 10 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Got one thing. I mean, two people. I caught two people stealing.
Mm-hmm.
Just I could see it. I'm like, I could see, I could see the undercover following them. I could see the plainclothes and the guard following them. And, they're following them on the camera. So I could see the guy trying to evade them. And he's got the baby monitor. And I'm like, I do not miss this at all. And it's just for 10 minutes, just inside of Walmart, I can't turn it off because
it's a program.
Yeah, it's like after like
hard. It's
what the better part of 13,
program.
14 years.
Yeah.
Even I can't turn it off. So.
Well, I mean, I have similar things in life though, like where I see certain things and I'm like, that reminds me of this thing. This in a storytelling process.
Yeah.
This is how this would go. This is how this would go. Like I relate a lot of things to pro wrestling and like I go like how much of work everything is when I see like Trump is just some heel.
Yeah.
And
oh man.
It's just all sort of related. Like you said, the 13 years or whatever of programming.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with me with pro wrestling. It's like, okay, I understand the psychology of this layout because of my training.
Yeah. Oh, it's but I like to get away from work and do something else and talk about something else, think about something else, and that's why wrestling is a good thing, right? So.
Well, I have a.
But also not just wrestling, because like people think you want to talk only about wrestling. Like there's nothing else to talk about on the planet Earth.
Right.
So especially God forbid they ever see you inside a wrestling ring performing on the show.
Right.
Then they never gonna talk to you about nothing except for wrestling. And I don't want to talk about wrestling with people who aren't in the business.
Well, like they have a very elementary prejudgment of what it is.
Yeah.
But going back a second, is that you're going places and everyone thinks you're security. I go places and everyone thinks I work there.
Okay.
No matter where I go, someone comes to me and asks me where something is, or if they're allowed to do something. People always ask me if they're allowed to do something, and I'm like, I don't work here. You're allowed to do whatever you want.
What do you look? What is it like? They think you look like a handbook, like an employee. Like you just have the look of an employee.
I have a real I work here vibe.
Yeah.
And I don't know how to turn that off.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
I think it's just people's need to. I think it's people's need to get information too. Like I don't know. It might just be that those people are, for lack of a better word, dumb, and they have to ask somebody a question, and I happen to be there. But it happens often, very often.
I have another thing that happens to me actually.
What's that?
So people come up to me, and this happens all the time. People come up to me, and they think that I'm someone else, which could be a good thing or a bad thing. Like they think or they feel that they've known me or met me, and they actually call me things. Like, so someone will think, hey, you're with Roger. Like, we met before. And I'm like, I don't know who Roger is. And they're like, yeah, you played football for such and such. And I'm like, nope. So this happens a lot. So
did you ever play football?
No.
Well, there you have it.
And you're talking about from a long time ago till now.
Mm-hmm.
That's all everyone wanted me to do that.
Right.
It's all I heard all the time.
So you decided to avoid that CTE and go for pro wrestling CTE.
I used it for something else.
Right.
But what everyone wanted me to use it for, and what, even like my best friend swore for 20 years that if he had my size, and he's like, look, you didn't have to suffer like this. You could have been a millionaire.
Right.
And he tells me this all the time. He's like, you could have been a millionaire.
But you would have had such brain damage. you would be so concussed.
He's like, you could have been retired by now. You could have been, and I'm like, you have to. It's like, so you have someone who's, 4 feet tall and 100 pounds, and they love football, and they want to play football, and that's what they love, and that's their dream.
Right.
But, and then they have this person who doesn't have any passion for football, but has a size.
There's also,
and they're like,
size isn't the only thing that would get you a football career.
No.
You still have to be talented.
They don't
you
know
have
what they're
to
talking
know
about.
the sport, and you have to have passion for the sport.
Hello, you have to have passion.
Right.
If you don't have the passion, how are you gonna get there?
Right.
You definitely ain't getting there.
It's really like you can't just phone it in.
Yeah.
You have to want it.
Well, they've made mistakes in wrestling by hiring people because of their looks, and then they're like, they get up there and they're like, they push them to TV, and then they're like, I don't know, I don't even want to do this.
I just saw a video on YouTube this morning about Vladimir Kozlov.
Wow.
You remember him?
Yeah.
He got pushed to the moon.
Yeah, I remember that. And then
it went away.
Yeah.
But it was like an update on him.
Okay.
And it was like he's like super jacked.
He's jacked. Yeah, I remember. Yeah, he's like super jacked now.
I was like,
yeah,
well, he'd come back.
Yeah.
But I doubt that's gonna happen.
No.
No.
And he's got to be older than me.
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah, he looked like he was old back then.
Yeah, back then I think he was older than I am now. Mm-hmm. Yeah, or something like that.
He might have been
around my age.
Our age, yeah.
Yeah.
Something
around our age back then.
Mm-hmm. Man, it's funny too because as much as they're like, you could have been this, you should have been this, or whatever.
Yeah.
None of those things push you forward, and you still have so much time to do anything else.
Yeah.
The world is big enough for you to have anything you want and to go for any goal. It's like there's enough in the world. There's enough money to go around that even if you're seemingly in competition with somebody else, you're not. There's still, that's so temporary thinking and not like big picture. That's very tunnel vision to think that like, oh, I gotta make sure that I get this and he doesn't get that.
Yeah.
That's not gonna help you be happy in whatever you get.
Yeah.
So I think quality of life and karma and being able to sleep at night. They should really play a bigger factor in what success is.
Yeah. I mean, think of all the people who try to keep each other back and try to cause damage to, I guess you could call each other's careers or whatever. And, a lot of them didn't really do much, so. Do your thing, I'll just keep talking.
No, please do.
Yeah, but, I mean, it's just a lot of people that try to keep each other back. No one went anywhere. And then the people who went somewhere that weren't trying to keep other people back, they were just trying to do their thing. And, it's like, I don't know, when you get years down the line, it just doesn't matter anymore, You're just concentrating on being happy, working, and not trying to hold everybody back. And I understand that a lot of people left the business because of a lot of politics and things, but I still love the business, and I appreciate going to different places and being shown how green I am. I appreciate thinking that I have learned certain things and then going places and finding out that I didn't know much of anything. I appreciate correction, and I appreciate just getting to that point where I was able to grow a little bit more and say, hey, now I can begin, you know?
That's the type of humility that you're supposed to have.
Mm-hmm.
That I could probably throw myself under the bus here and say that I probably didn't have that for a long time. Where I'd be like, well, I've already figured it all out. Like,
no way.
And
no way.
That might have stood in my way for a really long time.
Yeah.
And
because I remember the stuff you told me. Going to school with broken feet and stuff. I remember your words. I remember a long time ago before I knew anything about wrestling. I remember being at the shows and then kind of chilling with you and you telling me stuff, little things that you went through in training when, you know, we were young bucks. You were young buck. And just trying to get to the point where you could get on a show or something and, you know, everything you went through to get to that point. And, you know, I respected that. But I didn't know anything about the business back then.
right.
So I was just a guy hanging out, right? Just trying to help out.
It was also a really different time, and
Yeah.
it was like, you know, you can have one ingredient but not the other ingredient, and it's such favoritism in certain ways for other people. And I think this still plays a part where it's like, oh, somebody's got to just take a chance. Somebody's got to just put their effort into me. Somebody's got to just buy in. Somebody's just got to be in. I got to like being in front of the right eyes or ears at the right place in the right time. But I don't know. I don't know how that's going to happen. I don't know when that's going to happen.
Yeah, that could happen in a whole bunch of.
Right.
And then when someone does see that in you, you have to be able to see it in yourself. You can't be, like for example, before I started and people saw something in me, and they're like, "You're gonna get in that ring," and I'm like, "Nope." So, you know, when Doc Diamond, you know Doc Diamond?
Yeah.
Yeah. You know when Doc Diamond was like, "Big money, get over here," you know, he's like, big money, I'm going to call you Big Money. He's calling me that around the school.
Is he still around, that guy?
Yeah, people are around, but they're not around.
Okay.
I hope that answers your question.
Well, I wanted to know if he was still alive. Mostly.
Yes.
Okay. Because I know he was having some health problems there.
He's alive.
Okay. Good.
So, when he started calling me Big Money, it's like, and he saw something in me, it's like, again, you have to be able to see it in yourself. And it's like, then of course you have people that get mad because somebody takes a liking to you or they want to push you or whatever.
Well,
and it's like,
with the political nature of everything, when everything has a level of politics to it.
Yeah.
If anyone gets something, then you have to, like, some cognitive dissonance switch has to go off where it's like, well, they must have deceived somebody to get that. They must have politicked somebody.
Nah.
There must have been some give or take, because
or I was minding my business. Scared as hell. Excuse me for using that word, but scared. Minding my business.
Yeah.
Over there in the corner, watching you guys wrestle. Not my fault someone took a liking to me and saw me train.
Well, it's funny because, like, you don't have to do a lot in a match.
Yeah.
Like, it's...
But I want to.
Right, exactly. Like, it's really, like... It's weird. Like, I said this to Adam Cole the day I met him. It was like his first day at wrestling school. And I was like, look, DJ's going to try to train you. Like, he's going to try to train you like you're him. But you're not him. You're more like me. He's not going to know what it's like to be out doing shows where, like, you got to make somebody who's not an athlete look like they're an athlete. And
that would be me. So that would be you and me, and you'd be trying to make me look good, like many people have done for me.
And
that's the thing. I want to be good. I don't want somebody to make me look good.
Well,
so I don't want Chris Jericho, Great Khali. I don't want to be the Great Khali. I want it to be like Chris Jericho versus like Bryan Danielson, not like Chris Jericho versus Great Khali and I'm Great Khali. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I want to be able to do that stuff, even though they're like, oh, you can't do it because you're too fat. All right, let's move on. But it's like, yeah, I went to places that were like, all right, forget that. You're never going to do it anyway. Then I went to places that were like, all right, you're too fat. You can't do it. But one day you will do it, and we're going to make sure you do it. Because here, you ain't getting on those shows at all until you know how to do all of it.
Right.
Even if you never use it, we don't care.
Right.
You're still going to know how to do it. Because when you get out of here, you're going to be a wrestler.
Well, like, I would say, if I go now to somebody's training school or whatever, and even when I was going to that place in Feasterville,
yeah,
I'm saying the second you walk out this door and you go get booked somewhere, you're a representation of everyone here who's taught you something.
Yeah.
So your name is now attached to me, and if you do something bad, it'll somehow rub off on my stigma and make me look bad. Maybe you want to operate accordingly? Like,
which is why you can't say I trained with this person when you only train for them one day. You can't be like, this person trained me.
Right.
Because then you go mess up on the show and hurt somebody, and they're like, you were trained by what?
If anyone claims they were trained by me, they're lying because they never trained anyone.
Oh, I never trained anyone. I can't say that. Yeah. Well, let me shut up.
Well, I mean, I've helped with.
Exactly.
I've helped with like sessions and seminars and stuff like that.
You see someone struggling with something that you know you can help them out with, and you're helping assist a class.
Well, I've for sure I've taken the moments where I'm like, hey, I know a trick that can help you with the thing I see that you're struggling with.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what that tip is. You can choose whether or not you decide to employ that trick.
Yeah.
But I've wanted to have a school many times. I've wanted to have a ring. I've wanted to teach people, but it's such a like an uphill battle that I have so many other things that I want to do also.
Yeah.
That I can't justify that.
Yeah. Me neither. No. Yeah, I definitely couldn't. I can't run shows. I can't do it. I wouldn't want to. I wouldn't want to have my own school or anything.
Well, it's the juice isn't worth the squeeze.
There you go. You covered it.
Like it's
not worth.
I ain't gonna.
No.
I'm not even going to break even. I'm not even
way.
Going to break even.
You definitely ain't. You're gonna have to stiff a lot of people.
It's a fool's errand to think that you're going to make a difference in such a regional level. It's like I want to quote Biodome. You're thinking locally. You're thinking locally, and I'm acting globally.
Yes. Yeah.
So I just I can't. Dude.
And to quote another movie, you'll remember this one. We got no food. Say it with me now. We got no jobs, and our pets' heads are falling off. Yeah.
I've had it with this stuff.
There you go. Yeah, I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it.
It would be like there's got to be like decisions and things weighed out to make me be able to justify one thing and not the other in my life. Like comedy. I'm not giving that up.
There you go.
I love my shows. I'm
glad
not
you
giving
found
that
that.
up.
Yeah.
I love my podcast. I'm not giving that up. I love my girlfriend. I'm not giving that up. I'm like, oh, I love my home, and I'm so grateful for all those things. But I'm not gonna take a huge risk for what is potentially not gonna pay off. So I feel like if I take more risks as far as going and doing jokes and giving an interesting perspective and like a voice that's not used, then yeah, maybe that'll be more rewarding. And maybe the rewarding is just those moments when I get a laugh. You know what I mean? The reward for it is that.
Yeah.
And not really necessarily like, oh, I have a Netflix special or I have a TV show.
Well, of course, everybody's going to ask you, well, money? How much money do you make? Do you make money? Are you making money? Shut up. Are you making money? Answer me. Money? Come on, how much money? Are you making money doing it? Why are you doing it? Why are you doing it, though? Are you making money? How much money do you make? Money? Are you making money?
Dude, if that's the case, I threw my entire life away. Like, I've been making no money in wrestling since I was 14 years old.
Why you gotta shoot, man? Why you gotta shoot?
I mean, I'm being honest. I mean, like, it's like pulling teeth, you know, trying to get somebody to agree to give you what you might deserve. And
I didn't know this was gonna get so emotional.
it's really like I'm more valuable than people are willing to admit out loud to me.
Yeah. Yeah, it's hard when, you know, especially if someone else is telling you you're valuable or other people are telling you you're valuable and you're like, oh, that's nice. I wish the booker thought that. But I don't really have problems with that because when I was wrestling the whole time, I didn't care about money. So it only got to a point in the past few years, you know, when I went up to Ring of Honor and stuff, and I was like, all right, I want to do something, make some money, what I love, but I really didn't care. I honestly didn't.
Well, it's funny, man, because
I never thought I'd be doing it anyway.
I always think about, like, man, I've always wanted to make a living doing that.
Yeah, of course.
And it never happened.
Yeah.
It never happened.
And then we got over.
And yeah, I mean, I still want to make a living at doing the things I love.
Yeah.
For sure, and pro wrestling's part of that.
Yeah.
But I'm probably not going to be making my living as an in-ring performer at this point. I mean,
okay.
I'm too beat up.
There you go.
Too beat up, too old, but I still have fun with it.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you know, I'll catch a break or something.
I remember seeing one of Breaker's shows wrestling. I was like, man, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I mean,
brings back memories, you know.
It's such a difference too. Like, I was such a different performer in these days than I was all the way back then. Back then, I was just somebody who happened to be there. So I valued myself up here, but my real value as far as an in-ring performer was like down here. And it's completely taken a polar opposite shift where my in-ring value is up here,
mm-hmm.
but what I'm getting for it is so low down here.
Yeah.
And it's frustrating.
Yeah. I want to kind of rewind to what we were talking about going somewhere to train because, like, you know, you have situations like that where, like I consulted with vets that were like, you know, everybody was just like, nah, why would you do that? You know, these kids are going to progress, you know, further than you. Like, you're going to be in there with people who are watching you wrestle. But it's like, that's true because, you know how you've been out for a while and you get back in the ring, you're like, yeah, I can do this. I'm a little blown, but I can do it. Mm-hmm. I can get to the point where I can, you know, work. you know. And for me, even though I was never at that point where I was like a great worker, I was always green or whatever, but I did get better with time in training. I was never able to really show it on the show because I was like kind of in squash matches and stuff and had like the 2 moves of doom, you know.
Right.
If that even exists.
Right.
Like I recreated the 5 moves of doom.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, oh, the 2 moves of doom, that's me. So like, all right, it's like in training, yeah, do this handstand flip bump and this swanton thing and do this, you know, learn how to do this. And then in the show, it's like, bam, 1, 2, 3. Did none of it. Trained for years. Just got squashed the guy. Remember all that stuff in training?
Mm.
You're not going to do none of that. Slam them, pin them.
You know, that just was making me think of. Remember Shaq had a rap album?
Oh, yeah, I remember. What's up, Doc? Can we walk?
Yeah!
Yeah, I remember.
That just made me think about when he's like, I slam them, I jam them, I make sure they broke it.
Yeah.
That'd be a good promo. That'd be a good promo in wrestling.
Yeah.
Shaq
But,
Fu.
Yeah, wow. The video game.
Yeah, I had that.
Wasn't it on
Sega.
Sega Genesis
Yeah.
and Super Nintendo?
I don't know.
Shaq
I
Fu.
just had Sega.
Was there another game?
I don't know.
Was it Shaq Fu?
I think Shaq Fu was a
Was there like a
standalone.
Shazam game or something?
I don't remember.
Yeah.
Sega had some hits though. They were rocking out the hits.
Yep.
There'd be a Aladdin game for Sega
I had it.
and Lion King.
Lion King.
Those were my jam.
Yeah, Aladdin. It was awesome. It was awesome. It was good.
Did you see the live action ones?
Haven't seen them yet.
No.
No, haven't seen them.
Do you have an opinion, a prejudged opinion?
I've learned to shut up and not be an internet boy. I've learned to say, you know what? I'm not going to judge who's playing Batman in a movie that's coming out 7 years from now.
Yeah.
You know, we're not going to talk about the ending of a movie that's happening 10 years from now. Let's just watch the movie. Remember when you used to watch the movie and be surprised?
Right.
Remember
Well,
that?
I think some of the kayfabe, from wrestling has affected the way you consume all entertainment.
Yeah.
So if you know the backstage story and you know that this and this and this and
especially if you're like me and you spent your life, you know, you're watching Terminator 2 for the 800th time and you're like, wait a minute, you know, because you got it on tape and DVD and laser disc and you got the special edition VHS and the regular VHS and you got the special edition, you got the DVD and you got the Blu-ray and the 4K and you're like, this is the 800th time I've watched this movie. I don't know why I'm watching it, but look at T-1000 when he stabbed that guy. Oh my gosh. And he paused it, and then you're like, you can see the foam from the dummy that they used when he stabbed the guy through his chest. When he gets up to, you know, it's like, but I saw that 30 years ago because, you know, I spent all this time trying to learn about movies because I wanted to be in the movie industry and special effects. Because back then it was practical special effects.
right. Well,
There was not all that animation and all that stuff. So they had to use dummies.
It's about suspension of disbelief.
Yeah, so they had to edit things in, you know. So it's like, remember Terminator 2? Where the guy, like, you've seen Terminator 2, right?
Yeah, of
So
course.
remember, yeah, you know, you'd be surprised. So, like, when he's like, you know, shut up, you're worth this piece. You know, he's drinking the milk, and she's like, she moves the phone, and she's
Wolfie.
like,
Right.
yeah, Wolfie.
Yeah.
Like, what's the dog's name, right? So, like, I remember that scene, and I remember, like, how they did it. And I remember how it looked so amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, it was so simple how they did it. And I remember, like, wow, this is awesome. Nobody's dead, but it looks like someone's dead. I want to be in the movie industry. But, you know, you grow up, things change, right? Because I remember, you know, looking into schools and, you know, everything changed into computers. So we're going over from, like, getting away from Stan Winston and all that, and we're going into, like, the computers, right? Mm-hmm. So that's kind of what I was going to get into. And then, you know, like, it was drawing for a while, and I was like, you know, just screw all that, like, The Rock's on TV.
Well, here we go.
Forget all that.
You can still do any of the things that you want to do.
Yeah.
It's never too late.
Yeah.
To just like, dude, with my friend Steve, like that's his main source of income now is a filmmaker, and that just came from us sitting on his front porch and him talking to me about a movie idea he had, and I said, let's fucking make it, and we made the movie. And he just does that now. Yeah. And it's like, well, it's not too late.
Yeah.
Like, he was like, well, I
realized that as time.
He's like, well, I went and I got married, I had 4 kids. I'm like, well, now you've done that part, now let's move on to the next part.
You can move on. Mm-hmm. That's the thing. Mm-hmm. It's like, I think people are starting to realize, because now it's like, everybody, it's like, all right, it's the second wave, the second comeback thing. You know, it's like, all right, Sylvester Stallone in the 70s, right? Mm-hmm. And then there's like Sylvester Stallone from now, his comeback movies. So there's Arnold from back in the day, and then there's Arnold from all those amazing comeback movies. Mm-hmm. He did a ton of movies in the past 10 years that were awesome. New movies that nobody's seen, and they were awesome.
The one he did.
There's so many of them.
Oh my god.
He did like a ton of new ones.
I really like the one. Oh shoot. I can't remember.
There's so like.
It was like he was a sheriff or something.
The Last Stand.
That one. Oh man, that
was so good.
good.
Johnny Knoxville's in it. Yeah.
Yes.
It was so good.
I mean,
it was so good. You know why? Because Arnold, being young in the 70s and cocky,
he wasn't as good of an actor.
He couldn't have played that.
Right.
You know what? You know what had to happen? He had to be a senior citizen in order to play that role. Mm-hmm. He had to have that scene where he's at the table and he's putting on his glasses, and he had to be old. Mm-hmm. He had to have had his career came and went in order to be able to play that character. Right. He had to be a senior citizen. It was awesome.
I hadn't thought about that movie in a really long time.
Until just now, right?
Yeah. Actually,
so good.
If you see that black DVD case right there?
I see it.
Right next to there's a white one there and then a black one right next to it.
Yeah.
That's actually Last Action Hero.
Yeah, I did see that. Yeah, I love that movie.
I put it in the PlayStation to watch it last night and never got around to it.
Man, that movie's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. And Wolf hasn't seen it. Wolf never saw it, so I wanted to show it to him. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And I was like,
you know what? There's a lot of stuff going on in that movie.
Yeah.
You know what? You know what I get from that movie? Even as an adult.
Universe.
Forget about that. You know what I get from it? Because I love movies that use the fantasy element to tell a realistic, like they're using fantasy to tell a story. Mm-hmm. So basically, the kid, you can look at so many things, but one thing you can look at is the kid. He used movies, like we use wrestling. Right. He used it to get away because at school he didn't want to face a bully. He didn't want to deal with. Look where they were living. His mom being single. Right. He didn't want to deal with none of that. Right. His dad not existing. Right. He didn't want to deal with none of that. What did he do? He went to the movie. He literally escaped inside the movies. Right. That was his thing. Right. So he viewed Arnold as such a character to him. It meant everything to him. And the old man was the only one who understood, who was a geek like him, who worked at that movie theater.
What was it? Jack Slater? What was that?
Jack Slater?
Slater.
Yeah,
God.
Yeah. So, that old man, that old weirdo that gave him the magic movie ticket was the only one that could understand his love and passion for the movies. And that was their connection, was that they, like he was telling them how he remembered when he saw such and such, or he remembered being a little kid and he remembered seeing Houdini perform in the same theater that he's working as a. And I think
he owned the theater.
Yeah, he owned the theater, but I don't know if they were going to close it down or something. It was getting to the point where things were changing. Yeah. And he comes from the old school, and there was a lot of things in that movie. There's a lot of things in that movie. It was good.
This current time is going to be like that, I think. A lot of places are facing oh man, people.
The library.
People don't come out as much. People don't come out as much. So well, we're gonna face out. But like now, since people miss everything and people are stuck in their houses, they're gonna come out. They're gonna come back from this thing, and they're gonna come out in droves.
Yeah.
Dude, it's funny that you said that thing about the library. Because did you see that video I posted on Instagram the other day?
No.
It was like an old comedy bit that I used to do. I mean, I still do it every once in a while.
Okay.
But I would say, you know,
I have an Instagram, but I can't even lie, I haven't been on there. I gotta get back on there and pull it up and actually, because I have it. My account's active and I have pictures on there and all that, but they're like old. I haven't been on there for like forever. So.
The bit was, I would say, I can't believe libraries still exist.
They still exist. Man.
With smartphones and the internet.
They exist.
You wouldn't need
tablets.
You think you wouldn't need that anymore. So I drove past the library in my town, and there was a bunch of cars in the parking lot. I was like, what's going on? Like, what's happening? Why is this still open? Why is there cars in the parking lot?
Yeah.
And I went inside the library. People weren't looking at the books. They were waiting in line to use the computers to go on the internet inside the library. Like, you're using the thing that makes this place obsolete inside this place. And I said it's like if you go to your current girlfriend's house holding hands with your side piece and you knock on the door and you say, hey, do you mind if her and I just have sex in your living room?
I used to go to the library to watch plays. That's how old I am. I used to go to the library to actually look up the old disc, whatever that thing was. What was that? I forget what they're called.
Well, you said you had Terminator 2 on Laserdisc.
Man, I had Terminator 2 on everything.
Did you have a Laserdisc player?
You know what's crazy? I didn't. Someone
You
else did.
You just owned the disc.
Look. There was technology. Like I had, remember 3DO? Do you remember Panasonic 3DO? Like
no, I have no idea what that is.
All right, so like I had technology that was changing. So I had like, I had every video system, like video game system. So I had like stuff like 3DO that came out right before the PlayStation, when everyone was trying to come out with something. So like Gold Star and Panasonic were coming out with like a system so you can, and then Sony came out with the PlayStation, blew everything away. But like Jaguar and all that, all these ridiculous systems that no one remembers.
I don't.
You could have missed it because it was like so fast. And Genesis came out with the Nomad, which is like a handheld Genesis, and then like Nintendo would be like, all right, we're gonna mix this something, but that wouldn't come out, and So I had like
the original
everything.
PlayStation was like 1994 or something, right?
Yeah, so like the 3DO was like 1992, something like that.
Well,
Because they had games like Jurassic Park.
I didn't have my own money, and
yeah. Well, we're talking about $400 for something that plays a prototype of what we call DVDs, but DVDs didn't exist.
Right.
So like it came with like a demo, and on that demo was like, all right, it showed you how you could use it as a CD player, a photo CD thing, right? Because back then photo CDs were like the new thing, and then like you could use it as like it'll play live action. So I had like an episode of like a half of an episode of like Batman the Animated Series, like the Heart of Ice episode with Mr. Freeze. So it was blurry. It was like it looked like a clear VHS that was blurry, if that makes any sense. So it looked like a blocky DVD, like when the DVD is kind of like compressed, and they put like 4 movies on this side of the DVD and 4 movies on that side. You play, and it's like it kind of looked like that. I don't know. So anyway, 3DO. I had one of them. I don't know why I mentioned that, but that was one of the like. They were supposed to be coming out with movies, but they didn't because DVDs came out, and 3DO went in the trash. So Laserdisc went out.
Imagine sitting around nowadays having a conversation with the CEO of CDL. What was it called?
It was actually Panasonic that came out with. It was the Real Interactive 3D Multiplayer. That was the name was like the Panasonic Real Interactive Multiplayer, but the short name was like 3DO. They called it. It was like it was $400, and literally months later, it was useless. The value went from so the day it was released, it was $499.99. It's $500. I got it at $400. It went down. The value went to like $20. I mean, you couldn't sell the thing and make money off of it. That's how fast the value dropped.
Wow.
PlayStation came out. DVDs came out. I know there's somebody out there who remembers what I'm talking about. If you do, you comment on Facebook, because I know you know what I'm talking about. Somebody remember the 3DL, because there was a Gold Star one. There was a whole bunch of, there was like different ones. There was, Atari came out with the Jaguar. Video games went through a lot of, you remember 32X for Genesis? Sega CD, any of this ringing a bell?
Sega CD sounds familiar. It's something I never had.
I didn't have them all.
Have any of that stuff.
Yeah, I had that stuff. I almost started a fire because I had like these, I had a ball of cables, everything, and there was no such thing as wireless.
Right.
So behind my dresser and my TV is just video game like wires. And you remember how you plugged the Nintendo and stuff in? And it would have that big adapter.
Right.
So I had to have like 40 different
surge
protectors.
Yeah, I had a Nintendo 64.
Yeah.
I'll go through all my systems I ever had. I had the original Nintendo. I had Sega Genesis. I had PlayStation 1.
Okay.
I had Nintendo 64.
Okay. Yep.
And I had PS2 and 3 and 4.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's it.
What's that? 3?
Oh, that's a 3.
Yeah.
My PS4 just got stolen.
Huh.
It just got stolen last week before that, something like that. Did you not hear the story? I had found these kids on Craigslist that were I was looking for a roommate because
that's the magic word.
I had created an ad on Craigslist, and the kid reached out to me and was like, hey, me and my brother, we're gonna move in. We're looking to move in, and I was like, okay, cool. Like, I need money.
I want people to hear this because this happens a lot.
So
Craigslist.
So I let them move in. They were here. I said, like, let's check in every 3 months. So they moved in January, and then as March starts, my PlayStation disappears from the living room, and I thought they brought it into the bedroom.
Okay.
And I texted them, and I said, did you take my PlayStation out of the living room? Because, like, if you did, it's fine, but just, like, tell me that you did. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they didn't respond to me, and it was like another day went by, and they hadn't responded to me, and I called, and they didn't answer. And I went and knocked on the door, and I opened it, and they had moved out. They had moved out, and they stole my PlayStation. And
oh, mercy.
So Rick gave me his PS3. Rick gave me his PS3 because he has a PS4 now, and that was just sitting in a bag at his house. And yeah, that's what I do.
I'm sorry that happened to you.
So
that's horrible.
I didn't do anything legally about it. I mean, I didn't want to like involve the police because it's like I'm not supposed to be renting out that room.
It's horrible. I'm just gonna check this. Go ahead.
So
I'm listening.
So I had pictures of their IDs.
Okay.
And I had their phone numbers, and they had blocked me.
Okay.
They had blocked my number.
All right.
So I shared on Facebook their phone numbers and their pictures of their IDs.
Mm-hmm.
And like people were bothering them, which I wanted that to happen, so that they would be like, "Hey, he's giving you your crap back." But I was like, "Look, I don't care about the rent money. I just want my PS4 back." And it's like somebody was calling me a racist because the one kid was black and the other kid was Spanish.
Yeah.
I'm like, how am I? Because I'm sharing their IDs because they're brown. Like that was what someone said. I'm like,
when you open up your home, things happen. I've been through it before. I tried the roommate thing against my will, against my beliefs. I tried things to save money. It didn't go the way I planned. Guess where I found the place? Through Craigslist. I went through a lot of stuff, man. We'd have to have 3 hours to talk about that. I can't even go into it.
So, somebody who, do you know Dan Moff?
Dan Moff, of course.
Yeah, Dan Moff.
I mean, so I know him not personally. So I know him from seeing him over the years. A lot of different places, like PWS, where I tried out years ago and stuff like that.
Right.
A lot of shows. But us being cool by name, knowing each other like that, we're not friends or anything. But by face, yeah.
We've always been cool.
Yeah.
Dan Moff and I have
He's not like, he's more of an acquaintance.
Like,
through wrestling than anything.
Yeah, we're the same thing. Acquaintance, like
by face.
We'll hug when we see each other.
He probably doesn't remember my name.
Great seeing you.
Yeah.
But
by face, yeah.
He commented on the thing saying like, you're only doing this because they're brown, you white piece of shit, and he was like, yo, fuck you, Cory, fuck your Facebook, delete your shit, delete everything.
Ring of Honor now?
I don't know, but he was like cursing me out and calling me racist and shit. And I'm like, no.
I only had one experience with him.
But then he deleted me. But
it was good.
Which is fine. Delete yourself. I'm fine with you deleting me. That's fine. Get out of my life. But
we're talking about Dan Moff that used to be with Monster Mac? Is that what Okay, alright.
Yeah. I for sure don't. I didn't know where that was coming from. That's some you shit. That's some you shit. That's not some me shit. Keep it. Keep that. But then I looked again and like he has multiple Facebooks and the one that I'm still friends with is active. I'm like, you deleted me from, maybe that's not even you, maybe whatever it is, it's all some shady bullshit and I'm happy to be away from it.
Funny how that has to do with the wrestling business.
Yeah. It comes right back to wrestling one time.
Yeah, when you know, I went through a lot. I had roommates, you know, and it was rough. I did it between 2015 to like 2018 or something like that. I was on Harbison and Tacoma. It was a house. We were kind of like sharing it, you know.
Yeah.
Kind of same deal. We had some roommates that were cool at first, and then the last two roommates were like, it was terrible. They were like giving out keys to people and.
Well, I'm just
like random girls walking in the house. Like,
I'm just really glad that
who are you?
That those people are not here.
Yeah.
Like they removed themselves from my life. Like they weren't a problem. They weren't problematic. They just didn't talk to me. They just didn't communicate, which was like a real problem. Like I'm the type of person where I want you to talk to me as often as possible, just to check in. Like. So that we're on the same page with a lot of things. Like I had the thought right before it happened. It's a shame because like I don't want it to consume my entire podcast. Like I did the last episode. It came up because it was the day that it happened.
We've been on here for a while.
What's that?
We've been on here for a while too.
Right. So I was just like saying that one kid would come in and he would walk in, he'd keep tight to the door, and he would be looking at his phone, and he would never look up and say hi or anything. And the other kid would just like say what's up, and that was it. Like you know, maybe say like, I prefer us to have a friendship if you're living in my house.
Yeah.
Like I said from them coming here, I was like, look, I just want to make sure that you come in here one way and leave better than you came.
Yeah.
That's the space that I like to foster. I wanna encourage you to better yourself. Of course, I'm gonna encourage anyone to better themselves.
Okay.
That's my vibe.
Is that an hour and 14 minutes or 15 minutes? Is that how long we've been on here?
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that's gonna be a long podcast. Well, your podcast are usually pretty long, right?
Sometimes they are. Sometimes
It's
they're
all
not.
different. Right?
Yeah, it depends on the conversation. It depends on all that stuff. And I wanted to actually shift.
Yeah.
I wanted to shift and to talk about something else because I know you said that you might start asking me questions, which could be fun. Let's try that. You have any questions you want to ask me?
How did I seem to you the first time? If your memory can serve you well, when you saw me for the first time, if you can remember, like maybe not the first time, the second time, maybe the third time you see me. When you first saw me, how did you see me? What do you remember of me back in the day? Your perspective. What do you remember when you first saw me?
It's so blurry.
Back with Eugene, do you remember any of that? Do you remember the truck? Do you remember the ring, putting up the rings?
It's very blurry.
Yeah. It was a long time ago.
It's such a blurry memory.
Probably almost 20 years ago. I don't even know. A long time ago.
I definitely got a very, very caring and humble vibe from you.
Okay.
From day one. That's why, I wanted us to remain friends.
Okay.
But I can't really remember what the impression was.
I think you got the impression though that you know how you meet someone in the business and you get you're like, all right, they're a mark. Let me stay away from them.
Okay.
I felt like maybe you got that impression of me because I wasn't really allowed in the locker room, and then I was. Mm-hmm. It was like, you know what? He's done enough work. He's always here. Mm-hmm. He don't ask for nothing. Then I was kind of like allowed to walk in the locker room when no one's allowed. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And then I was allowed to do a lot.
For some reason, I'm thinking that you were like at the CCW school at the time.
So it was like everyone knew my face, mm-hmm. but I wasn't training.
Right.
I was scared to death. I wasn't. All right. So as far as like being a wrestler, mm-hmm. you can forget about that because that was the furthest thing from my mind. Somewhere along the line, they started making comments, right? Because my size, right? Mm-hmm. Just like the football thing. So I won't drop any names, but people that I respected started making comments.
Like John Zanding. He's not gonna fucking listen to the show.
Even guys like Danny Rose and stuff who were just like, here, taking me to introduce me to, guys like Wife Beater and stuff like that. I'm trying not to drop names. I'm trying to be very respectful.
Drop as many names as you possibly can.
So
Danny Rose, Wife Beater.
Danny Rose was one of my trainers at Rebel School.
Okay. Oh, okay. So you were blackballed.
Yeah. So I was one of the people that was there.
That's another thing that now is
I was one of the
connecting the dots that we're missing.
Yeah. That's why we missed each other so long, because I was up there.
Right. Okay.
And dealing with that and dealing with Rebel.
Okay. Well, like that, it's something that I struggle with a lot now, because
there was a lot of guys up there, Ring of Honor people and everything.
Right.
Kelly,
Shaheem,
Rob.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people were up there. Teddy Fine. Yeah. A lot of guys. Guys that are famous now, like Rhett Titus and all those guys.
Right.
There were we all nobodies. Jeff was up there. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I was there.
Yeah. Listen. Everybody was there. There were so many people there. I don't even know.
At that time, and this is funny, and I'll tell you why I'm struggling with it.
Yeah.
Because that time helped me find my group, helped me find my relations with people, and like the kind of, I don't want to say kind of man that I wanted to be, but definitely the kind of, for sure, it was a role model type situation for me, like learning and meeting some of my best friends that I've ever met were there in that build. Like, we became TNE there.
Okay.
TNE was born at Blackball.
Wow. I didn't know that.
That was, do you know what TNE, right?
That's you and Nas, right?
No, CKNY was me and Nas.
Oh, I'm tripping.
No, TNE was me and Matt Bomboy.
Oh my God.
Denmark, Rick Feinberg.
That was one of the names that I was saying that I hadn't heard in a long time. Yeah. When I saw on your podcast list. Yeah.
Matt Bomboy.
Matt Bomboy, yeah.
So we all became friends there. Yeah. And that was life-changing. Okay. And I wouldn't have gone there had Chuck not called me and checked in with me and like cared
Yeah.
and like told me that I was special.
Yeah.
But then I go like, I can't mourn him. I can't have my positive memories of him because of him being a monster. And
I was hoping I could get through this podcast without going into that, but you know.
But yeah, I mean, we're there. We're there now. Here we are. We're right there.
I remember going to PWU at the Animal House in Philly.
Yeah, but
Allegheny and Collins.
There was a falling out with PWU and Chuck as well.
Yeah, so I remember going there and Johnny Kastner making me run around the block. It was like the hottest day of the year.
Right.
He's like, "Oh, you're a big dude. Run around the block 20 times." So I was like, I was running around the block. So the first time I get all the way around the back, past the righty and everything, I'm dead. So he's like, push-ups, jumping jack, hottest day of the year. Dr. Don Boots is there. So anyway, he's making me do these handstand flip bumps, making me do all this stuff. I almost break my neck. He allows me to watch the whole show.
Was Annihilation there?
That was after CCW. That was 2006. Everybody was there. Everybody, people that are in WWE right now, like Mercedes Martinez,
right.
You know, everybody was there. They were nobodies, right? So he allows me to watch the show. I get all this respect for wrestling that day. That was after doing ring crew for years and years in CZW.
Right, got that. Danny Rose, since you brought him up, I'm gonna talk about him for a second.
Yeah.
He's a dream guest of my podcast. I want Danny Rose in here.
Okay.
Like he doesn't mean anything to a lot of people, but he means a whole hell of a lot to me.
And to me.
Right. So he said, I remember having moments with Danny where, like when we would say the same exact thing at the same exact time.
Yeah.
Like my comedic like life hadn't started yet, and my timing hadn't started yet, but I was still like always making stupid jokes or whatever. Like we were. I remember being at like Champs Soccer Arena,
Okay.
which was probably like 2000, 2001.
Okay.
And we had to move the bleachers further away from the other bleachers.
Okay.
And we were all pushing.
Yeah, I did stuff like that. Yeah, I remember that. We had to do for shows and stuff.
And someone said they got to be far apart. They've got to be far apart from each other. Yeah. And Danny Rose and I at the same time went, "Gotta keep them separated." I don't know why that stuck with me, and it hasn't stopped sticking with me. And like, whatever it was, he walked past me and he like grabbed me in a weird way. And he's like, oh, getting them ring crew muscles. You got to build up them ring crew muscles. And he's like, I got mine.
It's terrible.
And it was just an early like vet throwing his vetness at you. Yeah. You know what I mean? But
he was cool, man.
He was always fun to be around. Cool.
When I filmed my tryout at PWU, after that I went up to Rebels in Phoenixville, 2 hours away.
You failed your tryout?
At PWU.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I'm pretty sure when you almost break your neck during your wrestling tryout, you failed. So Johnny Kashmere was like, breaking my, you broke my ring and all this stuff. So he, I was like miserable. He's like, you're sweating like a pig. So I go up to Rebels. I passed the tryout. Danny Rose is up there. You got guys like Ricky Reyes coming through,
But Danny was like the trainer there.
Yeah. And then like no one would show up for training half the time, and it's in the middle of nowhere in a firehouse and
him being there was why I wanted to go there, but then he was never there when I went.
I know why too, but he would show up, man. He would come down from Reading, and he'd be like, "I'm here. I got my boots. Where are the students?" And it'd be like me and like this kid Chaos. And
I know Chaos. Yeah,
it'd be like me, him, and
the big dragon tattoo on his chest.
Yeah, the dragon tattoo. It'd be like me and him, and Danny'd be like, "Where are the students at?" You know what I mean? So, but
was his name Joey?
I don't know.
Anthony or something?
It's all a blur, man.
I remember really liking him. He was a nice guy.
He was like a martial artist or something.
Yeah. I remember him having matches with Bomboy at those shows.
So, when I went, I was like scared to go up there and see Chuck and have a tryout. And then Chuck saw me. He's like, "Yeah, I remember you from CZW."
Right.
But you don't remember, like, I don't. At that time, I'm not thinking anyone would because I'm like a nobody.
Right.
Like I'm thinking wrestler, someone that doesn't exist, right? So I'm thinking of them as like these famous people that they would never remember, or they're just passing by. They don't see me when I'm doing ring crew. You know what I mean? They don't even know that they don't know anything. They just know the ring's there. Some mark put it up. Some kids put it up, and they'll take it down later. But they don't. You know what I mean?
Okay.
But people like Rebel did remember me from CZW and whatever other places that I was at in the arena back then.
Right.
And he welcomed me in.
I mean, I know, and I probably want to talk to Shaheem about this when he comes on the podcast. Talk about, because I remember talking to him about it then.
Keep talking, don't stop.
I keep talking to him about it then. Was like the racism.
Make sure I got enough. All right.
The racism that Chuck would kind of foster there.
Yeah, we went through it, but Shaheem got it the worst, or he took it the hardest. And I'm not going to go into that. Because that's up to him.
No, I'm just asking you for your experience from it.
My first, Rebel's dead, so I can't really. I don't like to talk about people that can't defend themselves and aren't here. But what I'm going to say is this: Rebel had a sense of humor, but he would, how like in the WWE, like they'll hire you if you're black, but they'll push you, but you can only go so far, and you can only do it in a certain way.
Right.
That's how Rebel was. He would push you to the moon, but it's like you're still black. So remember that, and don't forget. And he wouldn't let you forget it. So it's like my first wrestling name. He wanted to be Chicken Dippin' Dante. He wanted me to slam people and put the bucket of chicken over their head with the fried chicken. He wanted me to come to the ring eating the chicken. He wanted me, everybody thought it was funny or whatever. That never came to be.
Good.
It ended up being Big Daddy Dizzle because Shaheem was Shizzle and Rob was Fizzle.
Right.
So at the time, that slang thing.
Guilty conscience.
There was all that stuff going around and Snoop Dogg and all that, for Shizzle, my Nizzle talk that was like the thing. So we became Shizzle, Fizzle, and Dizzle. So that's how I became like the manager.
Okay.
Big Daddy Dizzle. Before I was security for hire, Dante Monroe, and then finally Big Money. So that's how that started.
I think right before I came there, he was using Aaron.
What are you talking about, Shaheem?
No, Chuck Rebel was using.
Oh, you talking about Aaron Gainey?
Aaron Gainey, yeah.
He was actually. I met him when he wasn't even that big. He was like slimmer then. I met him. He had like that regular, kind of like that hood gimmick.
All good Aaron Hood.
There you go.
Yeah.
All good Aaron Hood. See, you're helping me here.
Yeah.
I remember meeting him, and then years later, I remember seeing him. I remember seeing the Nightmares wrestling, and I'm like, wait a minute, I know this dude.
Right.
Like, I remember working shows with this dude, but I didn't know it was the same guy because he had put on all that weight, and he had that
long dreadlocks.
Yeah, he had that
and the paint and stuff.
I remember seeing him at CZW. They did a CZW show, man.
Yeah.
It was like at the end of the show, where the show's done, and they have like another match, and the fans went nuts. The Nightmares, like they came out there, they wrestled these two skinny guys, and they killed them, man. And they did that whole thing where that stalling suplex, where they suplex the one Nightmare suplexes the other one onto the wrestler.
Right.
Oh my gosh, the crowd went nuts. It was awesome. Like I remember seeing him, and I'm like, I met this guy before, back in wrestling school years ago. Yeah, and then he died, man. And he died.
He's one of my fucking best friends in my life.
Yeah, he died, man.
I miss him every day. I miss him every fucking day. I talk about him every day.
Oh, you have no idea, man. I got shirts in my house that are from a wrestling group that a group was thinking about starting in respect to him. That we're gonna start.
Gainy Meanie?
No, it was the Receipt Squad. We had the promo, and we were gonna start this thing.
Who's
in memory of him.
Who was behind that?
James Gore.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's fucking great.
Because he's like a friend of his. A lot of people are a friend of Aaron.
Yeah.
So like.
I've hung out with James.
Yeah.
Since Aaron.
So it was kind of like, I guess, an idea they had. So I won't really, like I said, I'm not trying to.
I mean, I've been wanting to have James in here, like for a while.
That would be cool. He's old school. He's gonna tell you about how he was going to shows before they had entrance music, and I'm going to shoot on him for a little bit so he can curse me out later on. He's going to tell you, you know, why is this girl walking to... Like, I was at a show with him recently. He's like, why is she walking out in her wrestling gear? And I'm like, James, calm down. She's going to wrestle a match, obviously.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, she's a manager. She can't. And then the next match, she came out and wrestled. I'm like, duh, she came out in her gear because she don't have time to change because she's booked in a match. Obviously, you can't figure that out.
Right.
But he's so old school that he's like one of those fans where, like, you know what I mean? He don't like, you know, like, shout out to James Gore, man. He don't like you, like, hanging around in your regular clothes because your girlfriend is there to see you. So you walk out into the crowd next to the guy you just worked, and you're supposed to be enemies, and then you're like kissing your girlfriend in the crowd. It's like, dude.
Well, the way I look at it, man, anytime I ever perform, so even do it.
He's old fashioned, man. He's about that kayfabe, man.
If I'm performing at a show, chances are there is a humongous portion of the people who've never witnessed live pro wrestling before. So they already come into it with their the skeptical opinion on it.
Yeah.
And they go like, well, this is I already know this is bullshit. So now I see a guy who was just hating this other guy standing with him. So I wouldn't do that because it's
and
not
James is one of the people who's gonna flip when he sees that.
It's not about kayfabe as much as it's about the experience being memorable for one or two of those people.
And for a child who,
right,
you know, and I hate to, you know, create a lie, but at the same time for that child, it's very real. And even for a senior citizen, you know, I know people that were watching Bob Backlund and stuff. They remember Bruno when Bruno was young,
right,
you know, from South Philly and all that. And it's like they go to a show and they think it's real, man. Like I remember being at SmackDown with one of my older friends. And he's like in his 70s, and he was like, why did he just wrestle him twice? And he has no idea that they said, look, that was wrong. You gotta go back out. We gotta record that again,
right,
and edit it and put it on, you know, because that was when SmackDown was pre-taped.
Right.
So he doesn't understand, like, why did he just wrestle that guy again? Why did he just cut a promo and it's like, oh, I gotta get some more so and so. He don't understand, like, it's a production, so they're gonna, you know. Or, you know, when someone's like, they mess up a DDT, and then they pick them up 4 more times and do like 3 more DDTs. And then on SmackDown, when it was pre-taped, you see 1 DDT, you don't see 4.
Right. People
They know that they messed up, so they're like, all right, they're going to edit this out, so let me pick them up and do the DDT. You know, people they think it's like, people still think it's real, some people. And to a little girl, you can't break that, you know. And, you know, I remember, like, people coming up to me like, yeah, can you hold my daughter upside down and take a picture of my daughter? And then, like, they'll show me that picture, like, they'll run into me and be like, yeah, you took a picture of my daughter at a show, like, 10 years ago. Yeah. And they showed me this, like, me, like, 10 years ago, holding their daughter upside down. And I'm like, yeah, I remember that, you know, and
now
their daughter...
as tall as you.
Exactly. Now she's taller than me.
Right.
And she still believes wrestling is real.
Right.
You know, so, kayfabe, man.
I mean, I feel like some viewpoints on kayfabe, and this is something I've been saying on my wrestling podcast. I call it. It's like because everyone has personal lives, and like you follow these stars on Instagram and Twitter and stuff, and you see what their real lives are like, and then you watch them on TV, and you're like, but that seems really out of character for this person or that person. So everything exists in sort of a gray zone. So
yeah.
I've been calling it gray fabe. Gray fabe. And it's strange time. It's a really strange time.
Well, it's different now.
Yeah.
You know, but some people believe, like James Gore, who believe, you know, nothing's changed. Like it's, you know, it's the same. It's 1985. It's still respect, right? That's what Dr. Diamond taught me. Respect.
Yeah.
So I mean, that that big money name, like that to me means respect. There's a lot of people that train me, But I remember Doc Diamond. He gave me that. People wouldn't be calling me Big Money. I don't really call myself that. That's what people call me because of him.
Right.
And like I remember that respect that he taught me. Like I legit wipe my feet before I get in the ring.
Right.
That's not a work. That's a shoot.
Right. Because
respect.
Respect.
It's not like like
I've been wiping my feet.
Yeah.
Before I get in the ring since.
Yeah. It's not like all right. I'm wiping it like it's my gimmick and that's what I do. Because there's certain things you do for your character.
Hamming it up.
Yeah. Right. So, but I'm not being a ham like. Hopefully I don't forget to wipe my feet, and hopefully I have my wrestling shoes on. If I ain't got my ASIS on, hopefully I got my boots on from Puerto Rico. Like hopefully I got my actual wrestling boots on or my ASICs. And if I don't got them on, hopefully I'm not in the ring. And I'm not gonna. That's all I'm gonna say because I know there's a lot of people that wrestle in gimmicks and sneakers and all that, and that's fine because I trained for like the first few years without wrestling boots or.
What's about what your resources are?
Yeah, I didn't have nothing. I didn't have a car. Like a lot of times, I was carpooling or a lot of us didn't have cars. Come on.
Yeah, dude, I didn't have a car.
Yeah. We were bum rides and our families and friends and coming up with a little bit of gas money.
That's why I have to give so much credit to Rick Feinberg. He carpooled my ass around for like a decade.
There you go.
And like
Mark Anthony Mariachi, Mark Angel, carpooled me around, trained me, stayed with me after class, taught me how to do the Baldo bomb, taught me how to do a fall-away slam. Guys working with me. Right. Guys training me. Much respect to those guys, man. Mike Keener, Matt Tremont, Mark Angel, Ron Starr, all those guys.
I've had Ron Starr on here.
Yeah.
Ron Starr's been on my podcast.
Yeah, I was listening to that one.
I've been wanting Keener to come on, but I don't know. We can't ever make it happen.
Yeah, some people are busy.
Yeah, dude.
Some people are actually working in the wrestling business.
And I think, and I say it a lot. I appreciate that. I don't want you to think I didn't recognize that joke, but I think having this experience with me and hanging with me like this, it takes a certain amount of effort that has to be something that might help somebody. Yeah. I don't offer much. I mean, it's not like coming and doing this with me offers you like a new 100 followers on Twitter. Oh. When it comes to like getting guests and having them hang out with me, it's just about like I hope that at the end of the day, when you go home, you can go to bed and be like, oh, that was a cool experience that I had today. Maybe I got closer to somebody, or maybe I opened up a little bit more, or maybe I
turned off the news and stopped watching the coronavirus.
Right. Exactly.
24 hours a day.
Right. So it's something that's pleasant. Yeah. And ideally, it continues to be that way.
Yeah.
And as I stay consistent, I want to just make sure that throughout this whole Corona thing, that I don't stop putting out episodes. And people aren't afraid to still come over and hang out.
Yeah, and actually shake your hand, right? Oh my gosh, we shook hands.
That's fine.
And we don't want to, I get it. It's a real thing. I want to listen to what they're telling us to do. Right. We want to, be sensible and everything, but I don't know. It's rough.
It's that once again, like I was saying about how everything after this is going to be different. Yeah. Because people miss shaking hands with people. They're like, don't kiss, don't hug, don't shake hands. Watching somebody shake hands on a TV show now I equate that to watching someone take a chair shot to the head in like the 90s wrestling. Like, oh wow, remember when people used to do that? And like now, I'm watching somebody shake hands on the TV show that came out like when this wasn't going on. It's like, oh, remember when you could do that? It's a weird world.
Yeah. So after blackballed, I went to DWF. So there was a huge gap in there.
Okay.
But there was blackballed for a while. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, blackballed I associated with.
I wasn't there until the end. I left before that.
I made a lot of really great memories there. I remember
me too.
Hanging out with Zach Connor.
I remember him.
Zach Connor.
Is he the thing?
Yeah,
The thing.
the Harkin.
Relax. Do it. Yeah, is that? Yeah. And the other guy with the trunks, he was kind of jacked, kind of like a
Chris Wilde. Yeah. Chris Wilde.
Oh, Chris Wilde. Yeah, he's a smaller guy.
Yeah.
But there was another.
And then Bazooka Joe was the other guy.
Yeah, Bazooka Joe. Yeah.
So hanging out with those guys, hanging out with, of course, Rick and Matt Bonboy and Niles.
And Niles Young.
We had some of the best, like. Niles just sent me like pictures that he had from an old phone that he was taking of like drawings we were making on the whiteboard in that one room, because we took over that one room. It was just all us. That was like our private locker room.
I remember going up there and it was freezing, and Rebel had these heaters.
They look like jet engines.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And it was so cold. It was like snow and ice and oh my gosh. And I remember there was this park near there. It was so big, and we'd be leaving at like 1 in the morning, to drive back to Philly, and it was like deer everywhere. You know what I'm talking about? There was like a park on the way there and the way back. We drove through this park to get there. I'm sorry. Yeah. So basically, there was deer all over the place. Like when you would drive the Rebels and you would drive back, the way we took, and it was just like herds and herds of deer out there in Phoenixville. And we would drive through this park, and it'd just be all over the road.
Yeah. And
we'd be like, why is it that we have to love wrestling so much? Like, it's 1 in the morning. I have to go to work in the morning.
Yeah.
I am so hurt right now.
That's a word. There's a word that gets used, but it's underused or underestimated how important this word is.
Yeah.
Sacrifice.
Yeah.
We continuously sacrifice for the things that we love. Pro wrestling has been a humongous sacrifice in my life, as far as like missing birthdays and holidays and weddings and
when you're working and everything.
Yeah, I have shows weekends. I miss like important occasions.
Especially when it's like Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, you got a show.
Right.
And then you're doing stuff on Friday and Saturday and Sunday, and you're working on Friday and Saturday and Sunday. And you have other things going on Friday and Saturday, but you have to be at the shows Friday and Saturday and Sunday.
Right.
You have to record this internet match on Thursday or Friday. You got to be here. I remember.
And then it's like,
but
what money are you making?
Yeah, but after that, here's the thing. After all that and all those years, like I said, I get to a point where I'm like, all right, now I can begin, because I had to do all that to be a nobody. I had to understand, and now I can begin. Like, and like, I had to be taught, like, you're a nobody. You're, you don't know much. So that's great that you did all that, but now you got to learn how to make some money. Now you got to learn how to do things correctly, and that's great, and I hope you had fun, because if you didn't, you're messed up. But thank God we had fun. We had those experiences, but you got to realize, like, now it's like people are going to ask you, that's nice, you love it, and you haven't made any money, but it would be nice to make some money, because all they're going to care about is how much money you made. They're going to ask you, why are you doing this? Are you doing it to get to something? What happened? If you haven't made it by now, what are you doing? I'm trying to understand your love for this here. And they're just looking at you, and you're like,
it's like that. You love wrestling, you really do.
Yeah, like you got this sling on, and
when's it gonna love you back?
Exactly. They're like, oh, you dislocated your arm how many times? And you're like, you got the sling on, and you're like, how much money did you make on that? You know?
Right.
Were you even making money? Oh, you were trying out so you could make money.
When I did this
It's
match,
like, I filled out my W-2 though.
I did this match where I like
Why didn't get paid yet?
I like bled all over the place. I bled all over the place. They gigged me too hard, and I like hit something, and they took me to the ambulance. They took me to the hospital in an ambulance. Not only did I not get paid that day because my gear, my bag, all the stuff was all still at the building, but I had to pay ambulance bill, hospital bill.
I still got, man, listen. I know. My bag.
Right.
I remember leaving my, man, look.
I showed up at the hospital in my gear. And they're like, what are you, a motocross guy?
Man, listen. I remember this girl looking at my private part through my singlets. Because I was like, my arm was like dislocated. I was in the ambulance. And I'm like, is he hitting these bumps on purpose?
Mm-hmm.
And like, because I could feel every rock in the road. I could feel every bump.
Yeah.
I could feel everything. And I'm like, this really hurts. And I remember like, you know, that question, like everybody was asking me like, do you really want to do this? And I remember like laying there because like there's no fans around.
Right. So
now I can actually ask myself like, do you really want to do this? And I was like, yes, I do. I still want to do this. So I was like, yep, you're crazy. But that's my decision, right?
Right.
So
it's like, I'll deal with some discomfort, some discomfort to continue my passion.
You remember Jay Diesel?
Yeah.
He was trying to put my arm in. You know how your arm slides back in? Mm-hmm. I remember like we were in Ring of Honor and he was trying to put my arm in. And like it wouldn't go in, man.
What is he doing?
I don't know. Like they were like taking my like pads off and putting them in my mouth. Mm-hmm. And my big money singlet on and everything. Mm-hmm. Kevin Kelly's like looking at me. Mm-hmm. Jay Lethal's standing over me and like, dude, like you can see the disappointment. Like we really liked the way this guy looked.
And folks, he said he didn't want to drop any names.
And I
Kevin
just dropped
Kelly
like one of the biggest
Jay
names
Lethal
in pro wrestling.
He doesn't want to drop those names for you guys.
I'm trying not to.
I'm just kidding. Drop as many names as you want.
And like I'm trying to be disrespectful, but I remember like the Briscoes like, what's up, Big Money? Because they saw Big Money on my singlet.
Right.
And they didn't know who I was, and I didn't know who. I mean, I knew who they were from watching them for years.
Right, of course.
But they were just like, "Hey, what's up?" Yeah, I didn't know them personally. Right. And they like everyone liked how I looked, how I showed up, and they're like, "Get in the ring and do my stuff." And I had already had my dislocations in training. And I'm like, I'm not going to the hospital. I'm just going to go to this tryout. You know, the most important tryout of my life. And then my arm came out, and I was like, I was laying there, and Jay Diesel's like, you gotta stop screaming. You gotta let me put it back in. And I'm like, woo! he's got all his muscles. He's like, and he's like got my arm. He's like trying to shove it back in. And you know, it's very sensitive when your arm's dislocated. So he's trying to like put my arm in. So I'm hitting like Mariah Carey, like the old '90s Mariah Carey, like ah!
Got you feeling emotions.
Yeah, he's like shoving my arm, and it's like won't go in. I'm like, yo, we were really.
There was when we were training.
It was like me and Larry Dallas.
When I was when I was training at CZW, this guy came in. His name was Fig, and he did a drop kick, and his shoulder came out.
I'm listening.
And
it comes out so easy, doesn't it?
The school was attached to a cheerleading school.
You got an outlet in here? I got a long cord. I'm listening.
The school. Oh, are you trying to get it to your phone?
Yeah, I'm gonna put this
one right over there.
Okay, good. Yeah, I'm listening. Go ahead.
There's a cheerleading school attached to the wrestling school.
Okay.
So when dude's arm popped out of the socket, I ran over to the cheerleading school and I grabbed the head coach guy.
Yeah.
Hey, dude, come over here real quick. We need your help with something. And he came over and was like, he made the dude grab the rope, and then he was holding the rope, and then like just pulled back like that and popped right back in.
Yeah.
Like maybe you should have tried grabbing the rope.
Yeah. Yeah, just making sure my phone's about to cut off, but we can still keep going on the podcast. I'm at like 1% on my phone though. We've been on here for a long time. Facebook drains your battery, but I got my phone plugged in, so we're gonna keep recording.
Any other questions that you might have for me?
I was like, I don't know. I kind of was just like, well, how did he see me? How did he view me when I showed up as a ring boy at the arena, 15, 20 years ago? How did I come off? And you kind of explained that, so.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, I get why you think that thing about the mark thing, but like, that's not how I thought, because people weren't easily categorized like that for me.
Okay.
Never. It's never that simple to go, this person fits into that category and that person fits into this category, because I can't live with being that kind of judgmental.
Okay.
Because if I'm that kind of judgmental, then imagine what I'm missing out on.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I was insecure back then, so I'm like, I remember them telling me to get in the ring, or telling me that I'm going to be in the ring, or whatever they were telling me. And I was like, they got to be out of their minds.
Well, you're a rare breed.
Yeah.
And people were just trying to market you.
Yeah.
Capitalize off of that. That factor that they didn't have.
Yeah.
And try to live vicariously through.
Well, I didn't think it was possible. I just saw these people as like these supermen. I didn't know it was possible to actually be a wrestler. You know what I mean? They were like aliens from another planet, as far as I'm concerned.
So I don't know if I've told you this, but there's a good amount of like reasons to me wanting to have this outlet, have this podcast.
Okay, no, you haven't told me.
I told the story on the podcast a bunch of times, so let me apologize to the listeners if you want to fast forward 15 seconds or 30 seconds, however. Years ago, my mom told me that she had burnt onto a CD voicemails from her mother.
Okay.
And from her best friend, who had both passed. She said, when people pass, you like forget what their voices sound like.
Okay.
And I was like, I don't want that. I don't want that for me.
Okay.
So I want to make sure.
Yeah.
I'm going to make sure that I'm going to continue to put out audio in which, inside that audio, I'm telling people who hold a very special place in my heart how much of a special place in my heart they hold.
Okay.
And that's one of the reasons I wanted you here. So on the record, since this audio is going to outlive both of us.
Yes, it definitely will.
On the record, you really stepped up for me as a friend.
Okay.
And I really appreciate you. And I hope all the best things in the world continue to happen for you.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Yes, you're welcome. Thank you.
Well, I looked up to you, so.
Well, I was just a kid.
Yeah.
It's funny.
But to me, you're a lot more than that when I saw you in the ring. So that's once again, that goes back to that child who's sitting there and looking at the show.
Right.
The way I saw you, the way I know you now, two different things.
Well, I have to give a lot of the credit to Eddie Valentine.
Yeah.
You remember Eddie?
Yes. You are going back.
So I have to give so much credit to Eddie Valentine because he told me when I was his student how you carry yourself in this ring better be that you believe you belong here. I'm not saying the exact words, so I'm not saying verbatim. This is me just kind of paraphrasing.
Yeah.
It's like you're here to put on a show.
Okay.
You're here to be in a fight. Believe you can fight. Believe you can believe you can be here and you deserve to be here.
Mm-hmm.
So do everything you do to serve that purpose. Do
Yeah.
everything on purpose and
Yeah.
have that purpose be this is a contest, this is a show, this is an exhibition. So I carried myself, and in the ring, I was confused as shit. And if I watch that stuff back, I look like a deer in headlights.
Yeah.
To me. But if to you, I looked like I had
Superman.
If I had an idea of what I was doing, I didn't. I sucked. I sucked real bad.
I remember you telling me that like 15 years ago. I remember I was watching this match, and on the CZW tape, and you were like, "Oh, that match sucks," and I was like, "That was awesome." And you were like, "I messed up this spot, and I did this," and I was like, "No, it's amazing."
Yeah, it was like the same thing. Like when I had an early episode of my podcast where I interviewed. I don't want to say interview because this isn't really an interview. This is just a chat.
Yeah.
I had a man on who around here was a local legend. Like was a wrestler, and I thought that was the coolest.
Mm-hmm.
But like in the ring, he wasn't that good.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember being like, you'd see him around town, and you'd be like, "There's Tony Stallone," and everybody would like mark out because like he kind of looked like Sylvester Stallone, and like having conversations with him now as like an older man, and him talking about the wrestling days and stuff, and it's super cool. So I can be on both sides of that.
Yeah.
Because back then I'd go, "Wow, I sucked in the ring," but talking to somebody who watched me and was like, "Wow, you're awesome."
Yeah.
Like it feels like a complete inverse of the situation with me having conversations with Tony. And I still see him at my gym.
Mm-hmm.
He's a good guy.
I remember guys like Sean Bishop, who I'm going to drop his name.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to drop his name, Felix. All right, I'm dropping that name. I remember guys like Sean Bishop, who would come,
He's also somebody I really want to have on you. Felix and I, what was cool is like, he used to bring me to Spanish restaurants, and like I met his family. He like took me to like the tape stores that he used to go to. Like, good dude. I'm like actually friends with his like adult son now on Facebook.
That's awesome. Adult son.
You're right.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
This is pretty ridiculous.
That's ridiculous.
Like, he's more tatted up. His son is more tatted up than anyone I like hang out with on a daily basis.
Yeah, because that's working, right?
Yeah.
All right.
Well, maybe flip that switch up.
Now it's working.
Okay.
It's amazing that I can shut off. I got the same thing in my apartment. It's like, I go to turn on something and I'm like, why isn't it working? And I'm like, oh, I have to flip that switch up. So, Sean Bishop. I remember him asking me, like, how'd that look? And I'm like, he got hit by a chair. I'm like, how else was it going to look? You got destroyed by a chair. Wrestlers worry about that stuff, and I didn't understand that back then. And
we did a match in CZW, Felix, where DJ was in the match, and DJ called this move. He wanted to call this move.
It might be the same match. Okay.
Where he did like a fisherman suplex, and then he like turned it into like a pile driver somehow.
Okay.
It knocked me out. I was knocked out.
Gone.
Like, first time I'd ever been knocked all the way out like that. And like, I think I still had like the wherewithal to roll out of the ring.
Yeah.
And
thank God for training, right?
And as I rolled out of the ring, and I looked up, Felix was right there punching me in my face. And I was like, "Oh, thanks for waking me up."
He was a big dude too.
Yeah.
He's my first example. I don't know why I feel like I can drop his name, but I just feel like I can. he's my first example of loving something like this and having your heart change and be turned away from it.
Mm.
He's my first example of that.
Well,
and that's
I mean,
why
there was political chess pieces that were obstacles. I don't know that.
I don't know.
Mm.
I know what I saw, what he told me,
Mm.
and what I heard. But I'm not going to go into any of that.
Mm.
What I'm going to do is just say that he is the first example that I had from the outside looking in of how you can love something and be pursuing it and be in it and be sacrificing, and then your heart changes and you say, no more, I'm done.
Right.
And I didn't understand it back then. I'm not saying I understand it now. I'm just saying that I'll never forget him, because I remember when I had a conversation with him, and he's like, I'm done. And I'm like, do you not realize, like, when I come here, I watch all you guys, and I watch you, like, you're one of the people that I come to see. He was one of the people that I literally, when I come there, I'm coming to see all those other guys, yeah. But I'm coming to see you,
right,
him, and everybody else. And when he tried his best to quickly explain that there's no more, like, that passion, it doesn't exist anymore. So, like, you know, when he tried to explain that to me, I didn't get it. And
well, how are you going to get it? I mean, you don't have
there's
a
no
frame
way.
of reference. Like, you don't know what his personal life is like. You don't know what...
and I know some of the stuff is personal,
right,
that happened. So I remember that stuff happening.
Yeah.
That I'm not going to go into.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know all the
I'm
details.
not,
I can only speculate.
I'm not in
and
none
I
of
won't
that.
even
Yeah,
touch it.
I can't touch it. I'm not in none of that.
Mm.
Outside looking in, just getting to the point where I'm trying to understand that these people are people, and they're not Kryptonians. You know what I mean? That they actually are people, so they actually do have, like, they're normal people.
It's hard to take into consideration sometimes that people are just people like you are.
Yeah.
Like when you're out on the road and somebody cuts you off in their car, you're cursing at their car, and you forget that that's a person in that car who has a family and has their problems and has their damage that they're trying to work through. And it's we dehumanize people too often. Yeah. And that's why I just want to make sure I'm always remembering, and I'm always...
You know what? You know what it is? I hate to cut you off.
Okay.
Cut you off.
Go ahead.
It's because I feel like...
you sound like Aaron right there.
I'm
sound like Aaron.
I'm like, no, Felix, you can't leave wrestling. People have to know who you are. If you leave now, they're not going to know who you are. That can't happen.
I remember this
right?
exact conversation.
Because I respect you. So you can't stop. And he's like, no, I'm stopping. I'm done. There is no wrestling. And I'm like, ah.
We were at the school.
Yeah.
At the CZW school. I remember the exact conversation. It was me, Felix, I think Jeff, and Jude, Eric.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, okay.
And we were such marks for CCW, for that company.
Wow.
I remember looking at those guys and me, and it might have been this kid, Christian Wolf. I don't know if you remember him. He was awful.
Mm-hmm.
But I was like, look next to you guys. And then look to the other side of you. I said, we are the future of CCW. And I remember saying that to them. I remember saying that to them like it was yesterday. We are the future.
Until you walked it, and
I'm the only one of us who stayed. The only one who stayed was Jeff.
Yeah.
And the only one who was, he actually went and became CCW heavyweight champion.
Yeah.
Like he was dodging landmines, like political landmines, like crazy. Which he felt like it was the juice was worth the squeeze for him.
Oh, DJ would be killed.
I don't give a shit. What's he gonna do? Not book me?
I'm trying to be like.
No, but
I have respect for.
no.
That's why
I
have such respect, man.
I was there for DJ's first day of training.
Yeah.
I was there. I had his first match with him.
Yeah, I think he was a student when I was doing Ring Crew.
Right, in 2003.
There you go.
I remember.
And I was there in like 2002, 2001 or something like that.
Right. So it's like.
Yeah. Right before he was a student. Yeah.
All any of us did.
Yeah.
Who've made anything in this business, and that example goes right for DJ.
Yeah.
Is be the right person in the right place at the right time.
Yeah.
And good for him. I mean, good for him. I mean, I respect him as well. I had a match with him a couple years ago. It was just a singles match, and it was fine. It was good. It was.
Where was that at?
It was at the Sportsplex in Feasterville.
In what show?
It was a Rob Feinstein show.
Ah.
And I remember saying to DJ, "I'm done with this. I'm not doing any matches anymore."
Okay.
Like, and I said to him, "You're one of my last matches."
Okay.
And he thanked me for that. I mean, I haven't left. I haven't left, but I told him he was one of my last matches because he was. He was one of my last matches. And when I went back, it was funny because when I went to Dojo Wars in 2014, and they had a locker room meeting before the show. He made everybody. He's like, everybody here, if you know Cory, raise your hand. And everybody put their hand up. And he's like, raise your hand if you knew he came from here.
Nobody
knew. And he was like, you talk to him. You ask him his advice. You respect what he has to say. He's one of the old school original CZW guys. Like, he didn't have to say any of that.
I was at Lala's show.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of like the new kids and then their girlfriends and stuff. So you sit in the back and you have all these like girlfriends and stuff in the back. So they're like looking at me and you're like, "Are you a wrestler?" Like asking me all these questions.
Yeah, right.
Like, nope, I'm just back here. Like, I'm just here.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's weird. It's weird, man. I'm not trying to drop names or hurt anybody's feelings, but it's really just, it is what it is as far as like the wrestling business. You don't have such a bruised ego about it.
Yeah.
I don't care. My ego has been
I'm cool though.
So bruised and dragged through the mud. I mean, dude, I tried to get back into CZW for so long until I went to Blackball and I met Bomboy. Matt Bomboy was like, even for years, hanging out with Bomboy, still talking about the CZW and what it felt like to be in front of those crowds and blah, 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 all that stuff. And he was like, dude, give it up.
You remember Judas Priest?
Judas Gray?
Judas Gray?
Yeah.
Did I say Judas Priest?
Yes, it did.
Judas Gray.
Yeah.
I was thinking of somebody else. Judas Gray is...
Judas Priest is a band.
Yeah. Judas Gray is... he was like telling us like, yo, you know how y'all be hating on everybody and holding each other back and telling on each other and he's like, if we go and walk like at Walmart, we all just the whole locker room, if we walked around Walmart for an hour, no one's gonna know who we are.
Right.
He was like, you're nobody. All of you. And Rebel was like, maybe one of yous will make it. Maybe one of yous have the potential that maybe one of yous might make it someday. That's it.
Right.
That's all he had for us.
I mean, I looked around at the school, like the school that I started at.
Yeah.
I was like, wonder if any of these people are gonna like continue to do this or like make anything with this business. And I was like, I don't know if any of them have like the heart to do it. And I look around in the business now, none of those people are anywhere. None of them are still doing anything in the business. And that's fine. And like the class of CZW school when I went there, I don't think any of us are doing. I don't think any of us have made. I mean, I don't think to any like level besides Jeff. And look at my class, George GQ.
GQ.
He's gone. Cash is dead.
George, he worked my my promo table for me.
Yeah.
In 2014, when I wrestled Patch at Slam Championship Wrestling, because I never had a promo table, so I had one finally. Because I had a gimmick table. Yeah. Like I had a. Look at me, I'm off. Look, I had a 8x10s and stuff.
Oh, cool.
So like, I ran into him somewhere. I think it was at Target when I was working at Target doing security.
Right.
And he was like way out. So I was like, come on around. But he just.
He's like a lawyer or something?
Yeah, I don't know. He was way far. Like, wrestling was far from his mind, so.
You know what's funny, man? The same kind of relationship I have with Aaron.
Yeah.
Like, where we just talk on the phone for hours at a time.
Yeah.
Like, we were like secret best friends. Like,
I wasn't, like, everybody had this amazing relationship with Aaron, and I didn't have that. Like, I didn't have his number or anything. I didn't, I just knew him at the shows.
Yeah, I mean, he was supposed to come here and do an episode of my podcast in June, and then he passed away in August.
Okay.
So he had to cancel because he wasn't feeling good.
Okay.
Like, it's like one of my biggest, like, I fucking miss out on it so bad.
That's life.
That's why I want to be having conversations with people.
Yeah.
While they're here for us to have the conversations. Like my friend Chris, I had him on twice, and he's since passed. And I was able to go back and listen to those episodes.
I'm sorry about that.
Where I was like, hey man, you know how important you are to me? You know how it's all these things. It will mean something to me later.
Because when I saw your inbox. Let's go back to that. When I saw your inbox, I'm like, huh? I'm like, all right, I know who this person is. I haven't forgotten this person.
Right.
Look up to this person.
Right.
Still do.
Right.
But what the freak is he hitting me up for? I haven't seen this dude since, man.
Yeah.
I saw you at the shows and stuff.
Yeah. I mean,
over the years in passing.
Yeah. The last time I saw you was right when Aaron came out of his coma.
Yeah.
It was right after Aaron came out of his coma. It was the second that was the show I came to just for him.
Okay.
Because they put him in like the Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was backstage for a little bit.
I've never been to that. Everybody I've known would go to it, and I would just be at home.
To what?
The actual Hall of Fame. No. You talking about the... Yeah.
They put him in like the Indie Wrestling Hall of Fame.
Okay.
It wasn't. Yeah. It was just a little plaque or whatever.
Oh, was it? Okay, I thought you were talking about the other one that everybody goes to.
No.
Okay, I got you.
What was that, like in Connecticut or something?
I forget. I've never been to it.
I've never been. I zeroed it out.
I remember getting stuff like that, like a little plaque from a wrestling place that I worked. We worked there like 5 times, and they give us like a plaque or something. Yeah.
You know, it's funny to think about, like, and I talk about this a lot, where I say, like, any name recognition that I have in the wrestling business is it feels like it's very regional, and it feels like, as far as, like, mass appeal, it doesn't have one. Like, it's very, like, blink and you missed it, because it means something to maybe 25 people who were there that day. Yeah. You know what I mean? But if I always looked at like the Hall of Fames of indie companies as like a whatever, but I would still be pretty honored if somebody wanted to, if that meant something to somebody, that they wanted to recognize me at my accomplishments or whatever. Yeah. Like, that'd be neat. But I'm not holding my breath on it. Yeah. And I mean, I have so much more living to do. I have so much more. Man, you put your foot in a lot of things, though. Acting, comedy. Yeah. You know, you're out there. That's doing some sort of legacy thing. Yeah. Creating. Because somebody will notice somewhere, right? What I want to do, for the greater good of it all, is is I want to inspire somebody.
Exactly.
I want to show.
That's what it's about, man.
Not just inspire somebody, but be a role model to somebody.
Yeah.
And show them like what obstacles you can get over. What obstacles you can, you know, you can push through. And like, did you?
You fall. I knew about it being some sort of a seizure.
Mm-hmm.
I remember seeing the pictures from your head,
mm-hmm.
and actually it was at the time I had like a 60-inch television, so I had my computer like on the television,
mm-hmm.
and my friend was over, and I was looking at pictures, and I had never seen that picture until like I clicked on it. My friend was walking into the room or whatever, and I was like, I just there you go. So I just like I gotta keep this right. I remember like, oh my gosh, and my friend was like, what is that? Because he saw like the your head, and he was like, is that from wrestling? Because they just attack wrestling.
They think it was a death match injury.
Everything has to be wrestling, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, no, get away from me. So because I was seeing this picture for the first time,
right.
And it's been a long time, but I remember your head just being like, it was horrible. And I remember reading something that I think you wrote that was very long, explaining like what happened.
Right. Well,
and we
we
weren't in touch at that time.
Right.
That was kind of like what's going on in our lives.
Well, I think that like I would have probably discussed it all with you.
I think you were in the hospital and you were not good.
Yeah.
And that's all I knew. And I was like, okay, wow.
Yeah, I mean, that's sort of, I had, it was something like I was born with. It was like something in utero. It's like my veins and so it wasn't something from wrestling. It had nothing.
Oh yeah, I know that. Yeah.
So it was.
Thank you for letting me know.
From my development in the womb.
Yeah.
My veins in my front right of my front lobe up here.
Okay.
My frontal lobe. They crossed instead of like how they were supposed to be connected straight.
Okay.
And so they clogged up, and my brain was my skull. The front of my skull was filling up with blood. Okay. So I had a seizure.
A seizure. That was in the shower, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
During the shower.
Right. So then I had to have a surgery, the AVM. It's called an arterial.
Well, you fell during the seizure or something.
Right. I fell out of the shower.
Out of the shower.
Right.
And hit your head?
I did. Yeah, but that had nothing to do with the injury.
Okay.
So the vein.
Okay.
So then I had to have a surgery called a craniotomy, where they like made that
craniotomy.
So,
okay.
Yeah, where they peeled my face all the way off.
Yeah.
And they cut a hole in my skull.
Yeah.
To resection the way the veins were.
Okay.
And then they put a plate back on it and then stapled my head.
Your face, but yeah.
Yeah.
And I think I might have seen like an aftermath of that. Mm-hmm. I might have seen a picture of like the aftermath of that.
Right.
Well, because I remember like your head. I couldn't really make sense. I just remember like something horrible and maybe like staples or some type of. It looked like like you just said. It looked like someone honestly just ripped your face off and put it back on and stapled it. Right. So I was like. I was on my computer. I have my computer hooked up to the 60-inch television, so I got Facebook and everything on. Like it's like 60 inches, monitors. Just so I'm looking at this picture on like a 1080p. This is years ago, like a 1080p TV. It's huge, and I'm seeing your head. And I'm just like, wow.
Well,
so
the point of me saying any of that,
yeah,
and forgive me for like glazing over it. Because I mean, I've told the story probably a million times.
Oh, a million times, I know.
Or grazing over it. I feel like obstacles will come your way.
Yeah.
And
keep talking.
I never wanted to stop doing the things that I wanted to do.
Okay.
Like other people have had smaller things happen to them and given up. And
sorry about that.
I can't stop. You know what I mean? I just want to motivate, and I want to inspire. Like, you know, I'd like to be like a speaker. I'd like to be some sort of, like, now, I mean, I do stand-up comedy, and
yeah,
do
and that's
out
awesome.
there trying to do as much as I possibly can.
Yeah.
Because we don't have much time.
We don't.
We don't have much time to do all the things.
It's almost over, man.
And I don't want to say that. I'm not gonna go that far.
No, it goes fast.
Yeah. But so I mean, like I'll listen to something that I recorded, like a podcast episode that I recorded in the beginning.
Yeah.
And it sounds way different. And it's been evolving. It's
yeah.
The conversations, they're less like me trying to fit them into a certain category. Like I wanted to make sure I hit asking this question and that question.
Yeah.
Make sure that this topic gets talked about or that topic. Nowadays, I'm like, I want to learn and I want to hear and I want to speak. And
yeah, we're all over the place because it's been so long, you know.
Yeah.
Since and it's like, this brings back memories, seeing.
Yeah. I mean,
your face, I can't look at your face without having memories.
Well,
so
that's great.
I can't look at your face without going back 15, 20 years into my life and into, you know, that time when I was coming in and, you know, like, man, is this something that people can do? People can really do this?
Yeah.
Like, you know.
Well, it's funny because I totally don't look the same.
No.
From back then.
No.
But you look exactly the same. Like you haven't aged a day.
That's great.
I don't look anything the same, but
that's great.
You look exactly the same.
You kind of do to me. I mean, back then I don't think you had like. I mean, you kind of look the same. You know, you just didn't have like. I think you have maybe more facial hair or something. I don't know.
No,
you kind of look the same.
Facial hair.
Yeah, you look the same. Maybe you didn't have the facial hair or whatever. Yeah.
I was also very skinny.
Yeah. So you put on a little. Yeah.
Yeah. I was also blonde. And
yeah.
And all this was shaved.
Yeah.
All my sides, my head. Was
shaved. Yeah.
And then the back of my head was shaved.
Yeah.
The thing I missed the most about
I used to think of you as, I think I even called you Chris Jericho.
Well, I didn't know that, but
I think I always used to refer to you as Chris Jericho or something like that. I don't know. Maybe not to your face.
A dream podcast guest would be to have Chris Jericho. Yeah. Here's the thing, dude.
My favorite wrestler.
All of my like dream guests that I want, I've reached out to in some capacity, and some people have reached back to me.
Mm-hmm.
Some people have seen it and not said anything, like because it says seen, like
seen, baby.
It said they'd be leaving me on red. But I get it. It just has to come to somebody taking a chance on what this concept is.
Mm-hmm.
And I've actually been trying to do this bit on stage about Chris Jericho. Chris Jericho's my all-time favorite wrestler.
He's my favorite wrestler too.
All-time favorite. Inspiring me in so many ways. When I was a kid, I wanted to be a stand-up comedian, a pro wrestler, and I didn't know I wanted to be a podcaster, but for sure, it's the thing I became.
Mm-hmm.
And Chris Jericho, I also wanted to be a rock star, and I couldn't do it because I don't have the musical ability. But Chris Jericho is a rock star, podcaster, pro wrestler, like actor, all the things that I wanted to be.
Yep.
Chris Jericho was doing all those things, and he has a real hit, like a smash hit song out right now. It's like his theme song.
Judas.
Judas, yeah. And the words to the song says, "What have I become now that I've betrayed everyone I've ever loved?"
Yeah, push them all away. Yeah.
I've been a slave to the Judas in my mind. Is there something left of the wreckage of my life?
I'm becoming...
Right. And I go, Jericho, I listened to your podcast. You have a beautiful wife and 3 amazing kids. You've been a millionaire since the 90s. I don't think there's a wreckage in your life. It's like, I think you are...
I don't know. We don't know him.
No, I know, we don't.
Yeah,
it's just my little joke I've been making.
Yeah.
It's like
you're listening. I've done that. I've listened to that song and I'm like, what?
You know, it's just a
it's just theme song for crying out loud.
It's just the effort to be a rock star and have entertaining music. It's not about. It's separate. They're totally separate. It's not a song that's.
You don't know. That could be a song from 20 years ago. That could be like a song from him from 30 years ago or something.
Right.
You don't know what's going on.
He might have wrote that when he was listening to records.
You could be on TV, but you could have just pushed your best friend away. You know what I mean? You could have been. Who knows what's going on?
Right. So. Well, you know, he's I think he's got a drinking problem.
Okay.
Pretty sure.
Okay.
But
it's a cool song. People like to sing it when he walks in the ring.
Yeah.
I was at an AEW show and it was amazing.
Yeah.
Fans were singing it and fireworks were going off and it was awesome.
It is super neat. Have you watched any wrestling since the world got canceled?
Yesterday I was my friend Ryan and Andrew. We were watching AEW.
Where there's
from the
no
empty arena.
Yeah, just like the.
What's today? Friday. So it was from Wednesday.
Right. Yeah.
And then Raw from Monday.
Yeah.
We're watching that.
Empty arena.
And like Stone Cold's like, give me a hell yeah. And they just showed like the camera, like they showed the empty chairs, and it was just quiet.
Did you see like
hilarious?
The whole the Byron Saxton,
the Stunner and all that.
Did you see that he got kicked right in the junk?
Yeah. Well, the Stunner, that you know. Yeah.
It's like
that's why I think like and that's another reason why I'm so glad that I have a work singlet. Not a singlet that I wear under stuff to work out in, but actually like a singlet. And you know, we get more like I think I can move in a singlet as opposed to like some people's gimmicks is that they wrestle in clothes. I think I can, even though I might not be comfortable wrestling in a singlet because of my body, but I feel more comfortable out there in a singlet. You know, I would feel more comfortable in like
as far as being exposed,
as far as moving and being able to do things. Like I remember, you ever like that happens where you like try to kick someone and like your foot gets stuck in their pants on the way down on their long T-shirt.
Yeah. Or
you try to and you got all this stuff on. You're trying to
Yeah.
Yeah. You know.
I wrestle in tights.
The long tights. Yeah.
And I wear a Speedo under.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. Because you wear oh, you still wrestle like you don't wear you wear shirtless. Yeah.
Yeah.
Shirtless. Just the
shirtless boy.
Yeah.
Just the tights.
Speedo. Yeah, I got you. Just underneath the tights. Yeah.
I learned that from Chris Jericho. Reading that in his book. That's what he does. So then I started.
What I would do is when I had that horrible when I had that preppy gimmick thing with the clothes, I used to wear I was a wrestler underneath, but I had the clothes on under it. I mean over it. So I had the actual singlet. It's like a white and black singlet that I used to wear in my tryouts and stuff. But I had knee pads and Asics and stuff and kick pads and over it I had clothes.
Yeah, you wanna wear the uniform of even if you aren't doing anything. I remember when I was first getting in the business, I used to stand in my mirror with my elbow pads on, oh, I'm a wrestler, that kind of thing. And then if I'd go to a show and I'd just be doing a run-in, I'd put my full gear on just to do a run-in.
Yep.
It's just a part of being a mark.
Yeah.
It's part of being a mark. Everybody in the business is the biggest marks. There's no way, and all the business is just filled with people who are big marks for it.
Yep.
Otherwise, you wouldn't have gotten into it.
No way. There's no way.
So that's another reason why I would have categorized you as just some mark, because there's more. There is no just.
I think that was more me than you, though.
Yeah.
I think that was more my doing in my head than you.
Maybe that's what you perceived. That everyone treated you that way.
I just felt like, well, I remember feeling appreciated. I remember being acknowledged by people, and I'm like, yeah, I'm definitely nobody. So, and I remember being acknowledged, like, you know, and people saying hi, like people like Chris Cash, you know, who, you know, would talk and say a few things, and it's like I didn't know him as a friend like everybody else,
right.
like you guys, but I knew him from being there.
Well, I did ring crew alongside you, man. I
Yeah.
did ring crew with you.
Yeah.
So.
But you were also a wrestler and training at the CZW school, and I was not at the CZW school. I was not training.
I mean, I was still in high school, dude. I was a kid.
And I was a little bit older, so that kind of, you know, gave me like, all right, because that's kind of like why I was doing my own thing. I was kind of able to get down there, even if I didn't have a ride, I was able to get the bus or something, get 2 buses down there or something like that, you know.
I don't know if you remember this, but I remember clear as day. And this is why I continued to do it and still do it to this day. Whenever I go to a show and the ring crew's there and they're breaking down at the end of the night when I go to leave, I say thank you for everything.
Oh, it means so much, man.
It's a big, it's
oh my gosh.
humongous because I remember
it means so much.
I remember Johnny Cashmere doing that every time. Johnny Cashmere did that every time. So I always was so grateful. And I also somebody who's a dream podcast guest. I want to have Johnny Cashmere in here. I mean, I don't think he's gonna do it.
Where in the world is that man?
I don't know. He disappears and ghosts me every single time I get back in touch with him. But he taught me how to do a really good arm drag.
Mm-hmm.
My good arm drags came from Johnny Cashmere, and some of my making sure I'm respectful to everybody who's helped with the ring, or the chairs, the guardrails, anything that you've done to help us. You didn't. We didn't make any money, and you didn't make any money.
Yeah.
So I'm more grateful for you, because all I had to do was put on my gear and get in there and work for 8 minutes if I'm lucky.
If you're lucky.
And you were here all day. You were here all day.
All morning.
Sacrificing your whole entire Saturday
all morning.
For nothing.
And very late at night.
Yeah, I mean, I was alongside.
Yeah, I know. Because I would be allowed to go home, and you would still be with the truck.
Yeah.
You would still be, it would be.
Yeah, with Pop.
So, and those shows, man, did they run late.
All the time, yeah.
They ran late, man.
Yeah, I didn't get home till like the sun was coming up.
Yeah.
Most of the times when I was doing ring crew back then. But got my ring crew muscles, got my dues paid. I don't think that because I paid my dues, that my dues are paid in full. Yeah. I still got dues to pay. I still got things.
That's what I'm trying to say. That's what I'm trying to bring out. That's the respect thing. So it's not talking about we did this, we did that. Like that's not my place to go in front of these kids and be like, no, I still got
because none of those guys that are there now knew I was ever even there.
They don't know. Please,
like if they did know who Cory Kastle is, they didn't know Cory Kastle was ever in CZW. CZW and me are so disconnected as compared to what I thought was going to be the case, because, dude, I was the biggest mark for CZW. Like, when I said I looked around and I said to the people around me, we are the future of CZW. I was such a mark for CZW because I was in high school. I was in high school, and I was, like, still, like, drawing the CZW characters and, like, drawing out CZW. Like, in my board time at school, like, I was always a mark for it. I'd be drawing pictures with a ring and, like, the crowd being full the way it was at Cage of Death 3. And I was like,
oh my gosh.
And I was like, my dream was, like, to wrestle in front of that many people all the time.
That was the first time I witnessed a full CZW show live.
Yeah.
Cage of Death 3.
They've never drawn that big ever again.
It was ridiculous.
Or, if they have, I was never there.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Cage of Death 3 was...
Sandman, it was at the end, right?
Right.
Late at night, yeah. Yeah.
But that was like...
I remember that show.
That was my first time at the arena. Like, I always been always wanted to go to the arena, but my mom would let me.
That show was awesome.
That was CCW's first time at the arena. And then I grew up in that building. Like, I was always there. But...
Yeah, because they weren't in Jersey before that?
Yeah.
Because I was watching it on TV on Channel 48.
Yeah.
I remember seeing Z-Bar and everybody. I remember going down and seeing everybody from TV, you know?
Right. So,
Channel 48, man.
Champs Soccer Arena in Sewell, New Jersey.
Yeah.
I remember one time, and this is the only time I'd ever been on a motorcycle. I rode to Champs Soccer Arena on the back of Eugene's motorcycle.
Okay.
I still think about, like, I'd never been on a motorcycle before. And I've never been on one since.
That's that wrestling right there. That's that wrestling.
Yeah.
Who knows what's going to happen, you know? It's horrible.
So, do you think that you'll ever have your own podcast?
I never really thought about it.
No.
I mean, I like listening to podcasts, and I used to like shoot interviews. I used to have a love for shoot interviews on discs and on the internet. But
do you see that thing with all the DVDs on it?
Yes.
That's just all shoot interviews.
Yeah, I used to love that, man. I remember I found out about shoot interviews, and I was like, what? This exists?
Right.
And I heard stuff, and I was like, oh, this is amazing, you know?
Right.
So, listening to everybody complain after they get fired and released, you know?
Yeah.
I used to love that stuff.
And I also did.
Yeah.
I still do. I used to, too.
Yeah, some of the friends I met up in Blackballed and PWU that I used to hang out with, this one guy, he actually just died not too long ago. He's ex-husband of my friend Amy, who I met up at Blackball, Amy Bickle. She was just a fan. She was like a photographer. And she was like married to a guy who loved wrestling. And he had like everything in the basement. He had like, you know, pictures of Owen Hart when he was young. And, like all this stuff that you would never even...
Did you know that Rob Feinstein started his own podcast?
No.
A
lot of stuff. I miss a lot of things.
A lot of the shoot clips all on his podcast. He only put out like 2 episodes though, and then stopped doing it. But like I helped him with getting them all onto iTunes and stuff.
Well, like a lot of people that do like YouTube videos and stuff, they stop because of like the editing and the whole.
Right.
It takes time. It's time consuming. And
right.
Things take time. So you know.
Dude, it's unavoidable to get frustrated by the fact that you put out a piece of content and it gets nothing. It gets no love, no attention, no views.
The guy, like Chris Van Sena, or Chris Van, what's that guy's name? He like drives everywhere. He gets interviews with everyone. He'll be with like NWA one day. He'll be with Willie Garcia. He'll be with this wrestler and that wrestler, WWE wrestlers, and he'll be at shows and he's like interview, you know, do The Rock and all these. I don't know how he does it. He's like, but one of the ways he said he makes it happen is he actually drives. So like he'll be in his car and drive for like 10 hours. Like he'll make it happen. Like if he's got to go to them, I guess maybe like this to set up with like a laptop, I don't know. Whatever he brings it to them. If they don't come to so somehow he makes it happen where he gets everybody. Yeah. And he gets all the names, and I'm like, I don't know how you do it, but you do it. So
if let's say hypothetically, I gifted you this podcast.
Okay.
And from this point on, it's called Evolving with Big Money.
Okay.
Well, it does sound like a motivational book, like a get-rich scheme kind of book. But Evolving with Big Money, right?
Okay.
And this was your pilot episode.
Okay.
The very first episode of the podcast. In like a 30 seconds to a minute window, what would your Jerry Springer's final thought be to kind of wrap up the whole thing in a pretty little bow?
It would be that it's time to start loving one another more. If we're ever given the opportunity to get back out there again and live our lives, I would say take this time to understand that your routine can be thrown off at any second. The whole world can be shut down. Your life is not promised. Your routine is not promised. Your life can be taken away. It's like a vapor. It can be gone very quickly.
Quote Aubrey Marcus. I've heard him say this quote, but I don't know. It's probably not his quote, but I've heard Aubrey Marcus say this quote where he said, "We're all sand castles that the tide is coming for."
I would say it's time to start loving more. I've had to learn how to love people that I can't stand. I've had to learn how to get along with family members. It takes work. I hope that everyone tries to love each other a little bit more instead of trying to hold each other back. Because we're all nobodies. We're just a bunch of nobodies, you know. And I think it's just time to start loving a little bit more. That's my final thought. If this thing ever subsides and we're able to get back out there and live our lives and go back to our meaningless little routines,
Crowds of folks.
you know, because we're ignoring what's important and we're kind of just going on about what we think is right. But I would like us to start loving more, if at the very least. And you know, taking a step back and thinking, you know, look how fast everything shut down in like a week.
Yeah.
Maybe some of you out there last week you didn't think this was a real thing, but now maybe Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday you said, you know what, this is real. Maybe it hit you one day this week, like it hit me.
Yeah.
I think it was Monday when it hit me, and I think I had to acknowledge it and say, you know what, because I'm not in control and I already knew that.
Mhm.
So, yeah, if we're allowed to get back out there, and we're given that grace and mercy where we can return to our routines and have that back, let's love a little bit more.
Be a little more grateful for what our jobs were, and have a little more forgiveness for the people who you hold a grudge against, because
Yeah.
You miss them now.
Yeah. And some of you might not still miss. You might not miss things so much. You might say, look, I don't care if there's coronavirus or not, but I still